Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Well, welcome into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, on the road, if you will. I am in Los Angeles on assignment. Olin Buchanan is at the actual Rollo Insurance Studio. OB, good morning, buddy.
Good morning. What's about 6 a.m. there?
Yeah, it's weird. So, I didn't wake up as early as I normally do because of travel. I did most of the framework for the show on the flight here to Los Angeles, and we'll get into why I'm here later. But so I woke up, I think it was 3 a.m. LA time. It's just weird to see. Now, I keep my cell phone on Texas time, but my laptop showed still the current time here in Los Angeles. And it's just weird to see 3 a.m. and starting your day and already getting messages from Nick about an hour later. It was, but we're here. If you can see behind me, I think my left shoulder, there's the Magic Castle Hotel, which I've been told is very famous. I'd never heard of it, but I was told it's very famous. I'm right outside of Hollywood. Literally, Hollywood Boulevard is, 300 yards to my right.
Okay, well, there's no telling what kind of bizarreness you're going to witness.
Well, I'm only going to be in Hollywood today, or for a little bit. I stayed at my friend's house, my buddy Juan, as I've said many times. Tonight, I'll be moving towards the OC, Orange County. We'll talk about the why I'm here later. But so we'll do the show from here. We'll break things down. I don't know if you saw, I ran into Anto Saka yesterday at the airport.
I did see that.
Yeah,
I was. Was he going to LA as well, or
he's going to Las Vegas?
Oh,
he's going to Las Vegas.
Okay.
For the the SAC Summit that the NFL puts together, all the top SAC masters, if you will. And my understanding is they invite a bunch of collegians, college athletes that they see high potential in to learn a little bit more about the trade, how they go about their business. And Anto's one of the guys going.
That's very promising right there. You know, we need somebody that's at A&M to I guess, keep that pass rush going. And there's obviously people in the NFL that think he has a ton of potential. So maybe that's a good omen of things to come this season.
So, OB, on my flight here, I started reading ESPN.com, and Bill Connolly, familiar with his work, especially since I've been at TexAgs. I mean, he's been around forever, but his FBI index, I know on this show, we've talked about it, and I think we always leave kind of confused what it means, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we get it. It measures this and that, and ta-da, it's got a little formula, and you get it. But I'm going to read you what the internet says about the FBI index, and then we'll kind of talk about where A&M is in that. Instead of rewarding a team for past wins, it looks at player talent, coaching schedules to figure out how many points a team would win or lose by on a neutral field. And they constantly update a team's score up and down based on how efficiently they have played compared to how good their opponent was. So each week, it can fluctuate. And in ESPN's most recent FPI index, it has A&M at number 11, okay, which theoretically, if we're talking about the top 12 teams in the country, that would be a fringe playoff team, right? Which I think is pretty darn good. It has their chances of winning a national championship at 3.4%.
Okay. If you're in the top 11, I think maybe your chances were a little bit better. But I'm not even thinking, going into this season national championship. I'm thinking, are you good enough to get into the playoff? And then if you get good enough to be in the playoff, then I'll look at those kind of odds. I've always kind of thought of this as the BSI, and for all the reasons that BS would typically stand for. Because I couldn't tell you the actual example right now, but I know I've seen this index before where some team that's lost to somebody else badly has been ranked ahead of them and things like that. So but it's interesting. Hey, somebody else thinks A&M's almost the top or close to a top 10 team, and hope they're right.
Would you like to hear some of the teams ahead of Texas
Yes,
A&M?
I would.
Okay, let's see. Ohio State at 17% at number 1.
Okay, makes sense.
Followed by the team in Austin
at
13.2%.
All right.
Number 3, Notre Dame, 10.5%.
All right.
Oregon at 4, 9.8%.
Okay.
I was kind of surprised. Again, FPI's got his metrics, how it figures it out, but okay. Georgia, number 5 at 9%.
All right.
Kurt Signetti and Indiana at 6. We've got Miami at 7. Alabama at 8. You're going to like this next one, OB.
Yeah.
Texas Tech at 9.
Texas Tech at 9. I'm looking at this thing that says LSU at. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't put a whole lot of stock and credence into a lot of metric things, and personally, that's probably the one I put the least amount of stock in.
Yeah.
But if they're going to list A&M as a team that they think can contend for a national championship, then I'm all for it.
So typically here, OB, we do the 3 things we want to see, brought to you by the Brazos Running Company. From running shoes to Aggie pajamas, this Aggie family's got you covered. Visit the Brazos Running Company in Century Square or shop at masonhay.com at masonhay.com. All right, we usually do that. But now instead of doing that, because there's nothing really to look forward to or look ahead to, we're just going to do 2 things that Bill Connolly has questions about when it comes to Texas A&M. Okay. First thing he says is, I only have 2 concerns about the Aggies in 2026. Reed's glitches. Along with Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss, and Vanderbilt's Diego Pavia, Reed was one of the only 3 SEC quarterbacks to throw for at least 3,000 yards and rush for at least 550, not including sacks. But he finished 7th in QBR. So that's one question. The other one is the line needs a lot of portal help. A&M lost 6 of last year's top 7 linemen on the offensive line and 5 of 7 on defense. While we're at it, A&M's Hall have 5 D-line transfers that combined for only 14.5 tackles for loss last season, and almost half of those came from Ryan Henderson from San Diego State. So I want to kind of get back to, well, first off, your thoughts on his questions. I don't have problems with those questions.
Yeah, I think those are the questions everybody has. You might throw in the linebackers, but if there's 2, everybody's talked about Marcel has to be better, especially in the red zone. You can't be throwing a dozen interceptions. You just can't. So, and he knows that. And then as far as the offensive and defensive lines, I think as somebody that's closer to the program than this Connolly guy is that I feel pretty good about the defensive line. I wonder, I couldn't tell you how many tackles for loss Tyler Onyedem had at Iowa State. And you've got to understand that Mike Elko brings in guys and knows how to use them that haven't done a whole lot elsewhere. Nate Bokacher is another example. But I do have to admit, I have some apprehension about the O-line. So if you're going to say, I'm worried about Marcel Reed's tendency to turn the ball over and A&M at the line of scrimmage, all that is valid.
Obi, I wonder of those two concerns if actually Connolly only has one, because doesn't one fix the other for the most part?
I guess if the offensive line is really good, you would think that Marcel would thrive. Yeah. Is that where? Well, yeah, except that he's.
Go ahead.
Except that he said the glitches. Last year, you had a really good offensive line, and Marcel still threw 12 interceptions. And a lot of them were in the red zone or on the brink of the red zone. So that is that's something that Marcel has to himself improve on, because I don't know, even if this offensive line comes together as a really good offensive line, I don't know that I can say I expect them to be as good as last year's O-line.
So I think two things can be true, OB. Look, Marcel's got to protect the ball better, no doubt. But what was it? A third of his interceptions happened in the last two games of the season. So, and in those last two games, we could say that the offensive line was not as good as they normally are. And there was an inability to run the ball. So while, yes, I do think Marcel has to throw better and cut down those interceptions, I think some of those were, like in most cases with quarterbacks, by the way, are a direct result of not being able to run the ball and also not be able to protect him. He was running for his life as well.
Okay, but then some's going to, like the LSU game, one interception was a bad read in the end zone. Another one, the other team made a really good play, and that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you can say, yeah, he threw 4 interceptions in just 2 games. But those were the 2 biggest games of the year. So
yeah, no. And again, going back to what I was trying to point to, I think you're right, but I do think a lot of it is alleviated if the offensive line is good. Not saying that he has to be better, but the part that I think people point to is the end of the season more than they point to anything else.
That's true.
And I think the end of the season was a direct. Not completely the offensive line's fault, because, he threw the balls, but I think that it softens the blow, if you will.
Well, if the offensive line is close, anything near what it was last year, and I think it's really the left side of the offensive line is the key, but if it's still a team strength, again, I don't think it'll be as strong as it was last year, but if it's still a team strength, then it's going to be a really good year, because even with the glitches, as the guy called it, Marcel proved to be a really good quarterback last year.
Yeah, he did.
So I'm less concerned about Marcel than I am about the O-line.
Okay, so I feel like we've talked about this for so long but your number one concern today for Texas A&M's football future in 2026 is the offensive line?
Yes.
Or is it Marcel? Or is it the ability to get after the quarterback? Or is it the big play? If you had to say my biggest concern for this year is, you would say?
The offensive line. Are they going to be, is that offensive line with all these transfers, maybe as many as 4 transfers starting, is it going to be, I'm not going to say it's going to be as good as that. Is it going to be an effective offensive line? Is it going to be an offensive line that you can consistently win with and win the line of scrimmage? And I don't know. You just mentioned Anto Saka being brought in to this NFL thing for pass rushers. I think Marco Jones could get to the quarterback. I think Mike Elko will dial up blitzes to get to the quarterback. I don't know that I'd say that pass rush is going to be as good as it was last year, but I think it's still going to be, still going to be good.
Right.
The defensive line is probably going to be as good in the first three or four positions, but it's probably not going to be as deep as it was last year. So as long as nobody gets hurt, I think the defensive line is going to be fine. The only area I look at and I say, offensive line, and I'm a guy that always thinks that you can't have a championship caliber team without a really good offensive line.
I agree with that. Hey, OB, we're not hanging out the Holistic Planning Cool Zone, but as you've told me many times, at what?
Excuse me?
The Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
It travels. It goes wherever you are. If you're in Los Angeles and Hollywood, it'll go there with you. It'll do because it's working for you.
So my buddy Juan, that's my line, does not drink coffee. So there's no coffee here. So this morning, and I don't know what time you want to call it, 5:30 a.m., whatever it was, I had to go look for coffee because I'm a coffee guy in the morning. That's, it's just what I need. That's my vice. Okay. And I had to walk to Hollywood Boulevard. As I mentioned to you, it's, 4 minutes away. And let's see, I saw 2 people smoking weed on the streets, which is fine. You can do that here. I saw a rat and I saw beautiful buildings all within half a mile. So there you go. That's Hollywood for you.
I'm surprised you didn't have any dead bodies to step over.
Oh, I didn't say that. I was just trying to keep that on the down low because the guy touched me. And wait, never mind. Let's tell the people how they can contact the show. You can call us on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Thank you for saying that, OB. This is, by the way, I know Nick is going to be frustrated. Josh is going to be frustrated with this fire alarm in the background. It's nonstop.
I can't hear it.
There's a little. Oh, you can't?
No.
Well, and then can you hear my text going off crazy?
No.
Okay, well, maybe the audience can't either. I think they can. Anyway, it's driving me crazy. It's driving Nick crazy. But if you want to text the show and tell me about the little beeping sound on the background, you can do that on the what, OB?
The Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line. And the number for both of those?
979. What's that?
And the number for both of those?
God, this delay is killing me. 979-693-1150. We're going to go around the room from state to state through the glass. We say hi to the director of the year, my buddy, Nick Savage.
I think the delay, even back to me, is worse than it is to OB, David. So good morning. Glad you made it there safely. Is it clear to tell the people why you're there? I think you beat the race there, right? You know what I mean? Like I don't think the competition is going to be there.
I mean, they can come. Like, I do what I do, bro. I am here for Gavin Grohovic's draft party. So tomorrow he's going to be having a little thing. We think he's going to go in the top 40, 50 picks. So either fringe late first rounder to potentially early second round. That's what we think. And I'm going to be here. I'm going to interview him. I'm going to capture some of the awesomeness that is going to happen here. Super pumped because of Gavin's great relationship with TexAgs, very close with Bronny and Lucci. And, obviously Zane's on the beat. He's going to join us in the next segment for a few minutes to talk about the draft. We just decided that, by the way, as I was talking. I don't know if you saw, Nick, I was on my phone. I was like, you know what? If Zane's around, he should kind of offer some insight to, because I had that on the rundown to talk a little MLB draft. But, so I'm here for Gavin. Looking forward to it. I have not been to Los Angeles since 2018. OB, I shouldn't say this, but people still wear masks here. Don't answer. I'm just everywhere. Mask.
Especially coming out of a liquor store, running with a bag full of loot. I hate Los Angeles. I hope I never go back to Los Angeles.
It is beautiful, but the smog is like I told my friend, I was like, dude, do you see the smog? He's like, what are you talking about? I go, it's like brownish haze everywhere you look. No, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. Even I think I look orange right now.
Maybe you just get used to it. It's like if you have what do you get, nose blind sometimes for a certain smell, and maybe it's same kind of principle.
All right. Nick, what's on your mind, buddy?
I'm just excited for you to tell the people why you're there. And are you sure it's smog, not smug, as South Park might imply?
That's a joke that OB would get because I know he's watched South Park. I have never watched an episode of South Park.
Okay.
Sorry.
Once I was covering a USC versus Ohio State game in L.A. back, I can't even tell you what year it was, 06, 07. And I remember sitting in the Coliseum looking out. You can see the Hollywood sign in the distance and see this bronze-colored fog just hanging over the city and thinking, God, this is disgusting.
Yeah, I like seeing the mountains, and I haven't seen the water yet, but I hope I do see it at some point. But I'm here to work, buddy. I'm here to do a show. And I don't know who's at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center because I don't see it. OB, tell me who's at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, or Nick.
That would be LaGrange's own Reese Nygren.
Good morning.
Wait, Reese Nygren works still?
Okay. Takes a 2-week vacation and all of a sudden doesn't work. I see how this is.
Takes a 2-week vacation when the boss gets 1 week. Yeah, that's how I look at it. Yes, you're exactly right, Reese.
Call him Norway Nygren.
There we go. I'll take that. So while David is in California covering a past Aggie, we have Michael Early getting at it on the recruiting trail again yesterday, landing his 11th transfer of the 2026 cycle, and Jarrett Williams, the left-handed pitcher from Lamar, who chose not to follow his head coach Will Davis to the University of Houston. In 12 starts in his freshman season, the Santa Fe native had a 3.83 ERA across his 56 1/3 innings pitched, striking out 52 batters while holding opponents to a .156 batting average against. Williams made 1 appearance for the Cardinals in the College Station Regional, allowing 5 runs across 2 1/3 innings to the USC.
Look, both Bronny and Zane seem to be very excited about all of the additions Coach Early has made. I'm pumped that, A, they got the coaching staff right, because development, as we know, on the football side and on the basketball side goes a long, long way, right? And also, they're getting what they need, OB. They're getting pitching. They're adding to that staff has completely been revamped. Well,
I think we could go into next season feeling very confident that they're going to be a lot deeper as a pitching staff, right? Because it seemed like last year was like 4 or 5 guys, and then you remember the old Cleveland Indians, well, maybe you don't, but you probably heard the old rhyme, spawn insane and pray for rain.
Yeah.
Right. And so A&M had kind of their own, I don't have a rhyme for it, but it was like, 5 guys and, pray. But I think, they're putting together, if nothing else, a deeper pitching staff. By the way, is this guy from Santa Fe, New Mexico, or Santa Fe, Texas?
Texas.
Oh,
it's Texas, yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to...
He's from Texas, I can tell.
Just be clear. By the way Reese is dancing around the room.
Let's talk some food, OB. So I had an amazing dinner last night. Amazing. Yeah. So my friend had a gift card, so we went to go eat a big old steak and lobster. Okay.
Oh, nice.
We went to it was really good. But then we started talking. This is a true fake story. It's true that it's a story, but it's fake. I said, you know what, buddy? You want real meat? You go to Texas. And when you're in Texas, you go to 1775, because that's where you get the most exquisite, succulent, all of the above, OB.
Yeah, that succulent brisket, those amazing pork ribs, that incredible jalapeno cheese sausage. You can get meat anywhere, but can you get that spectacular Texas barbecue only in Texas? And then, because they tried other places, I'd say, but then when you want to get the best of the best, you just head out to College Station, take the road towards Snook about 2 miles to the left, get that 1775 barbecue. All those people that are still here for the World Cup, I haven't heard any of them going to 1775. That's probably good, because then they probably would never leave. The Euro trash would stay.
Check out the website, 1775txbbq.com, or call them up, 979-492-6241. OB, it's 1775.
And David, it's good.
Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper. Pure results is Catalyst.
We're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner Schulers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm in Los Angeles for Gavin Grahovic's draft party. OB is there in the studio with Richard Zane, our baseball beat writer. And, of course, he does everything. Publisher, you name it. Richard, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, David. How are you?
I'm good. I think Nick just cost me a friendship with my buddy here because he had me, unplug things from walls because the beep was going chirping too much. I had to rip it from the wall. There's a big hole, so sorry, Juan. But hopefully you don't hear it as much.
Well, thank you. We'll try to match the high-pitched squeals in here.
Hey, kind of prepare us beyond what I'm doing here, covering Gavin Grahovic's draft party, which I'm excited to be at. Kind of prepare us for this weekend, what TexAgs has in store for you from a MLB Draft perspective with so many Aggies involved.
Okay, so the MLB Draft begins tomorrow. I believe the event starts at noon Central Time, David. That's 10 a.m. for you. And the Aggies have a number of guys who are expected to go on day one. They've changed the draft this year It's now a 2-day event, Saturday, Sunday. So you'll see rounds 1 through 4 tomorrow, and then 5 through 20 on Sunday. I'll watch every single pick just to track which Aggies get taken, high school signees as well. So the 3 guys we expect to go on Saturday, at the very least, are going to be Chris Hakopian. First and foremost, he is expected to be the first Aggie off the board. He's currently MLB.com's 14th overall draft-eligible prospect. Obviously had a very, very good year despite missing some time with back spasms or a broken jaw or playing through a fractured leg and all of that. He hit over 300, OPS over 1,000, and I think he really helped himself defensively this year because that was the big question mark surrounding his game when he arrived at Texas A&M. 2 years at Maryland, his fielding percentage was around .920. This year at second base, .990. Made 1 error in 100 chances at second base. So Chris Hakopian's going to be the first Aggie off the board, somewhere in that 10 to 20 range. And then back half of the first round, early second, anywhere from that pick 25 to pick 50 range. Take your pick. It could be a flip-flop, Gavin Grahovac or Caden Sorrell. Just really, really good careers at Texas A&M for both of them. Caden Sorrell is viewed as the more volatile pick just because there was more swing and miss in his game this year than scouts had wanted to see, but he's an elite defender, and obviously when he makes contact with the ball, it absolutely flies. Gavin Grahovac, he's got positional versatility, a true team leader, and then, of course, the offense is insane. Both of those guys have accolades, long list of accolades that have earned them the right to be in this discussion as potential first-rounders. Now, if they all do slide into the first round, and it's not just picks 1 through 28 or whatever, because certain teams are forfeiting first-round picks because they spend too much money. I think we all know who we're talking about. They do count the sandwich rounds, the compensatory rounds, as first-rounders. So if A&M has 3 guys off the board between picks 1 and 38, it'll be the first time in program history that A&M will have 3 first-round draft picks in the Major League Baseball draft. And if 2 of them come off, it'll be the first time since 2012. I believe it was Michael Walker and Tyler Naquin first-rounders. So a lot of historic aspects to watch, right? If Hakopian goes higher on that 10 to 20 range that we talked about just a moment ago, if he is the 10th overall pick, he'd be the highest drafted position player in program history. So there's a lot of stuff to watch for, not just draft parties in Orange County.
Well, Richard, I think it's so I'm trying to understand the place for some of these guys. I know you explained it, but like Gavin, I'm researching last night, and like over the last month, he's kind of all over the place himself, right? I've seen him late first round, I've seen him second round, early second round, a little bit later second round. A lot of this is dependent on the deals that these players that are potentially ahead of him make with the club, correct?
Absolutely, and it depends on what kind of deal Gavin and his family or Caden and his family they're trying to cut with teams too. You'll see if you look at slot values of the signing bonus that each pick is allotted. That doesn't mean that's the money that Grahovac, Sorrell, Hakopian, any of these players are going to end up getting, because unlike the NFL draft, which is very cut and dry, right? They make the phone call when it's time to make the pick. Baseball, it all happens, or it should, or it does oftentimes happen ahead of time. And that's because teams want to save some money for the later rounds, maybe get a guy who's viewed as not as signable, get him to come off his deal. So teams are trying to save some money at certain spots, but at the same time, certain prospects are holding out for what they feel they're worth and owe.
Obi, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, a question, because I don't live it like Richard does. So, any of those guys that are in the draft that would still have eligibility had they not gone into the draft, if they don't get picked where they want to go, and I'm not just talking about those 3 guys, I'm talking about several of them. If they don't get picked where they want or slider in, can they come back?
Absolutely, they can, right? There's a signing deadline, I believe it's August 1st, where prospects have to sign their signing bonus to go become professional baseball players. You saw it a couple years ago, OB. I think Ryan Prager probably got drafted where he wanted to get drafted by the Angels, but the situation, the deal wasn't what he was comfortable with, so he opted not to sign and come back. This year, the big name you're going to be watching is Clayton Freshcorn, right? And if Clayton Freshcorn comes back to Texas A&M for another year, believe he would have yet another year of eligibility because of the new 5-to-play-5 legislation. He's a junior this year, would be a senior next year, but still have draft leverage. So if he were to come back to Texas A&M, Ryan Brauninger said on a pre-recorded piece of content, hint, hint, watch out for TexAgs a little bit later this afternoon, that he would be the biggest roster acquisition of the current offseason, right, if Clayton Freshcorn comes back. Now, I don't think there's a specific pick number, a specific round that you can watch to say you start feeling comfortable about Clayton Freshcorn coming back. If you're picked in the first 10 rounds, you feel pretty good about those guys signing and going.
Okay.
Simply put, and that's probably because certain clubs are saving money and they could offer big later. You never know, right? We're not privy to all of that information until after the fact. So it's just going to come down to organization and then numbers, dollars amount. And A&M, I believe, is going to have a spot if he slides and goes a little bit later to be very competitive as far as an NIL offer. What you don't want from an A&M perspective and a Clayton Freshcorn perspective is you don't want there to be a run on college pitchers. Because as more and more college pitchers go up, he starts going higher and higher on people's draft boards day of. So Clayton Freshcorn's the one to watch. And just because he gets picked doesn't mean he's automatically gone. It'll be a personal decision for him and his family, whether or not he signs or comes back to school.
Richard, before we let you go, if you were to, and I don't know if you can, but if you were to guess, all three of these potential first rounders go in the top 40 picks, top 50 picks?
I say top 50 for sure. I'll cross my fingers for all three of them that they slide into the first round for sure. That'd be really awesome, not just for the program, but for each of those individuals and just to cover all of these guys in the draft. We talked about Hakopian and Grahovic, Sorrell, and Freshcorn, but that also includes Shane Sadeo and Weston Moss and the seniors like Jake Dewar and Ben Royo. It's fun to see them begin their professional careers after getting to cover them for a few years and wishing them all the best and hoping that they find good landing spots this weekend. And David, Sun Heung-min bobblehead tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium. Let me know if you can grab me one.
Well, you know what? I should probably tell Juan because he did say, "Hey, Holmes, you want to go to the Dodger game, bro?" I was like, "Nah, I'm good." And I was like, but Richard probably want me to go get him something. So I'll ask him. Well, we'll see. Can't guarantee it.
Appreciate you, Poppy.
All right, bro. Hugs. Hey, you're doing the fan show, right?
Yes, sir. I'll be back.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right, Obie, we'll hit a break here. That's a company that a dear friend of mine who I worked with at 1560, where I worked with Raheel, or I worked with Juan, who's here. Chance McClain, he's awesome. He's the guy has done so many different careers, but his passion has always been storytelling since way back in the day when he was doing videos for the Chronicle or working for Sports Radio 610 or 1560 The Game. He's a storyteller, right? And now he tells family stories, and he's been doing it for the last 5-6 years. And I'm telling you, Heritage Films is the way to go for your family. You want to tell your dad's story, your mom's story, your family business story, your family ranch story in a 2-hour documentary form that you guys can watch together and have an empowering moment, but also keep it for the future generations. You check it out and you go to yourheritagefilm.com. That's Chance McClain's company. He's amazing. Call him up. You can talk to him about Star Wars. You can talk to him about politics. You can talk to him about life, movies, and your own life. 713-893-8341. 713-893-8341 is Heritage Films.
Hey everybody, David Nunya here, TexAgs Live, here with Sheldon and Danny Shelley of Aggieland Hydration. Sheldon, I want to start off with you. What is Aggieland Hydration and who do you serve?
So we're a mobile IV company. We serve the Bryan College Station area, and we are licensed under our medical director to work anywhere in the state of Texas, but given the name, we're focused on the Bryan College Station area.
Danny, how do appointments work?
So when a client calls in, they can call into our main line, or we have an online booking process. We get a quick little bit of information, name, date of birth, the address of where we're going to go, kind of what's going on. We give that information over to our nurse, and usually they can arrive within 30 minutes to an hour.
Jenny, who's this geared towards? Is it more for like sick people, athletes, people who've been partying? Who is this for?
All the above.
Okay.
And it just really depends on what you're getting after. Sheldon travels a lot, so I give him an IV once a week. Some people get it just as needed, like when they're sick or if they've been working, in the yard all weekend, if they just had a big workout, stuff like that.
And all right, Sheldon, help me out. Why do I not just drink a bunch of water or juice? Like, why go the IV route?
Yeah, so drinking water orally, you don't absorb it all. So getting a liter of fluids into your bloodstream directly, you feel the results better. And it's equivalent to drinking about almost 2.5 gallons of water.
All right, that's Aggieland Hydration. How do people check you out?
Then go to our website at aggielandhydrationandinjectables.com.
Or you can call them up at 979-217-1561. It is Aggieland Hydration. Welcome back to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. OB, Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse of CC Creations. Does it look okay, like the set, like with the LA scenery in the background, or do I close the blow? What do you think? I want OB's opinion.
It looks a little bit gray in the background, but you got on that black, shirt and those bulging biceps. So, it's a good look.
I'm not flexing or anything. So you can't see the Magic Castle?
I can see something rising in the distance, but
okay.
I didn't know that it was I didn't know it was Magic City or whatever magic is back there.
Yeah, I think Magic City is a different place in Atlanta.
Oh,
it's
okay.
a little different crowd.
Oh,
there.
yeah, wrong direction.
Yeah, different, just a whole different scene. I think that's a hotel. The Magic City in Atlanta is, never mind. I'm going to take a topic, OB, straight from the TexAgs message board this morning, okay?
Okay.
Who crashes in the SEC? All right, and I read through it. I thought it was an interesting topic, and I'm going to just give you the perceived contenders. Again, this is our perception. Georgia, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, maybe Tennessee, fringe, right? I think at this point. So all those fan bases obviously are going to be able to talk themselves into our team's a playoff team, or sometimes like Aggies do, like why they'll be 8-4. So who do you? I'll tell you what I think. I think I'm not predicting a crash, but if I were to predict a crash from that perceived group, my first one would be LSU.
Okay.
And the reason
define
is,
crash.
I'm 8-4,
Okay.
7-5.
Okay.
And the reason I say that, it's not that I'm predicting that to happen to LSU, although it absolutely could. It could happen to Texas A&M. It could happen to anybody, right? Like the reason I would say for LSU would be my number one contender is because we don't know Sam Levitt's health. Okay. He's coming off of the Liz Frank injury. He didn't do very much in the spring. I think when you're starting quarterback, who, by the way, had his best moments with Cam Scatteraboo, and he was really good, but like with that amazing running game. Now, Lane Kiffin touches a quarterback and great things happen. So I'm not trying to take that away from Lane, but if I were to guess a team that maybe A, is under a new regime, has got to learn the system, and you got a quarterback that is, potentially not 100%, again, potentially, they would be my number one contender to crash. And I'd follow that up. And I'll let you talk. I'm sorry. I'm going
It's
long.
all right.
With Ole Miss. And Ole Miss, not that I'm predicting them to crash, but you change your complete coaching staff, basically, right? At least on the offensive perspective. I know you have probably the best quarterback in the conference and an amazing running game to go with it, but is the offense going to feel the same? And so, to me, if I were to tier it, I would say LSU and Ole Miss, followed by probably A&M from that group. And I'm not predicting crashes from those teams. I'm just saying, at least as of right now, with the information that I have, that would be my order.
Well, if 8-4 defines crash, first of all, you said maybe Tennessee. I would say Tennessee's not going to go 8-4. I'll tell you a team that I think that you were talking about that might not be as formidable is Oklahoma.
Texas?
Oklahoma.
Okay.
Just look at the schedule of Oklahoma. They got to go to Michigan. They got to go to Georgia. They always play Texas in Dallas. Got A&M. Got Ole Miss. Got to go to Missouri. They're 8-4 to me is very possible there.
I'm not predicting Texas to go 8-4, but their schedule makes 8-4 certainly possible. So Alabama's got an interesting schedule. They have a young quarterback, somebody who hasn't started in the SEC. Look, all these teams, especially in this new SEC with 9 conference games, all these teams, 8-4 is certainly, if you went 9-3 last year, 8-4 is absolutely possible. And I guess the term crash might mean worse than 8-4 OB. Crash might mean 7-5. But from playoff hopes to 8-4, it would feel like a crash.
Yeah, right. I get that. And look, I've said before, until I see the offensive line in my own eyes, 8-4 is very legit, a very legitimate projection for Texas A&M. Because, again, you just don't want to see what happened at LSU in the offensive line last year happen here. Texas, that schedule, I see 10-2 at least. Ole Miss, I'm kind of with you. I just don't know that they'll be as good as they were last year. As much as I love Trinidad Chambliss, and they've got maybe the most dangerous running back in the league, but that's not Lane Kiffin's program anymore. And I'm not a big believer in Pete Golding. So I could see them taking a step back. So, yeah, I'm kind of with the thing about, and LSU, you could be right on both of those. I'll give LSU more more consideration because as much as I don't like him, I do respect Lane Kiffin as a coach that much, but I do question if LSU is going to be able to play good enough defense for Lane to compensate.
OB, let's hit a break here because we're up against it. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tease it now. I asked Google AI to predict who would have the crash, and I'll give you those answers on the other side. All right now we're talking about Bubba's 33. If you haven't had the wings there or the burgers there, you're missing out, guys. It's delicious. Jessica's there, Shelby's there, Maddox, Govea's there. The food is fantastic. The atmosphere is great. You'll love it. You can watch games there. You just get great food. But they want to make a difference with veterans out there, right? They're doing a Dine, Give Back, and Make a Difference event this July. Every donation can make an impact. Join them for the Burgers for the Brave event to help support homes for our U.S. troops, our national nonprofit partner. Whether you're dining in or ordering takeout by phone, you're helping us give back and make a difference for veterans all across the country. Come enjoy great food, support an incredible cause, and be a part of something bigger all month long at Bubba's 33, the location on Highway 6. Go check it out.
Everybody, David Nuno here from TexAgs, here with some of our new friends from Frog Slayer. We've got the CEO, Ross Morrell, and the VP of Revenue, Jacob Stone. Ross, I want to start off with you. Who is Frog Slayer? What do you all do?
Yeah, Frog Slayer is a custom software, AI, and automation company. We're based here in College Station. We've got about 50 employees right here, almost all Aggies. We've been doing this since 2005, about 21 years. Really what we do is we partner with business owners of growing businesses. And our goal is to come in, help them actually realize the promised technology in their company so they can create a company that is worth more than is tomorrow, that is today, and run a better business.
Jacob, I do want to ask you what's different about Frog Slayer's approach when it comes to AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't just do AI, we do AI right. And so what that means is we embed ourselves inside of our client's team, and we help them plan, build, and ship solutions that they can deploy to a production environment that anyone can use.
All right, Ross, I've got to ask you, why the name Frog Slayer?
Yeah, it's an old riff off Mark Twain quote. So he said, the hardest thing you got to do today is eat a frog. It's best to do it first thing in the morning. So that's kind of our ethos of doing hard things first. And it's also a nice tie into Giggle.
Yeah, I love that. Jacob, let's close out. Where can we all find Frog Slayer?
Yes, you can find us online at frogslayer.com.
All right, thank you very much to both of you, Ross and Jacob. Check out Frog Slayer.
Obi, we got to bank on something here from Vera Bank. I'll do it after I do the payoff here. So as I mentioned last night, I asked Google AI a very simple question. I just said, hey, who from the SEC would you say would crash and burn based on what you know about SEC teams? Who do you think it said was the first team?
Texas A&M.
Unfortunately, they did. It said the grueling 9-game schedule, one of the more difficult project paths, with championship expectations, a handful of close league losses can quickly turn into a highly ranked team into an unranked team. Okay, so in this case, it's 8-4, you'd probably be unranked. And I don't know if you would, but all right. So the next two teams, so I said, well, hold on, give me more. LSU.
Okay.
And it says top 15 hype, the Kiffin arrival. Chemistry is at risk. Heavy reliance on immediate transfer cohesion. It set Alabama as number 3, preseason brand value, new starting quarterback. Questions about identity, run game issues, less margin for error. Those were the 3.
Yeah, that those all make sense. You know, we talked about A&M yesterday when we were talking about Uncle Shane, and from the outside looking in, if you saw a team that was replacing 4 offensive linemen and had a receiver go in the first round and had the conference defensive player of the year gone and suffered an injury to a starting linebacker, you would have questions about that team.
Yep. So I'm going to bank on something, OB. It's the preseason. I'm allowed to dream big, okay?
Dream big.
I'm allowed to. A&M's going to beat 2 top 10 preseason teams this year. And I don't know who that is. Is it Texas? Is it LSU? Is it Alabama? Maybe none of those. Well, I think Texas will be in the preseason top 10. I would assume one of those other teams will be there as well. A&M's beating 2 of them this year, at least.
No, I like that.
That's how I feel.
I hope you're looking at it with 20/20 vision. You know what?
I'm 50 almost, so yeah, I don't know if I have that 20/20 anymore.
I would have lost a bet because I would have said you were going to say something about the World Cup, that you were going to make a World Cup prediction.
No, I don't know.
So I'm banking on the Norwegians.
Let's hope.
Yeah,
let's go Norwegians.
The guy that looks like the Ghostbuster 2 villain.
I think we only have a few seconds left, OB, so thank you. Have a great weekend. I won't see you Monday. I'll see you on Tuesday, right?
Right.
Okay,
yes.
Man. Have a great weekend. Coming up next on TexAgs Live, Josh Pate joining us for the first time in a long time. Pate is next on TexAgs Live. All right, welcome into TexAgs Live on the road from Los Angeles. We haven't talked to my buddy Josh Pate in forever. And I will say this, when I met him, he was a star. But dude is everywhere now. Like, even on vacation, people are bothering. We go to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, our friend Josh Pate. What's up, brother?
Are we going to stick to the story that you and I agreed upon, David, wherein I've been blowing your phone up constantly and you haven't been answering, and I've been begging to come on the show, but you've been gatekeeping? Are we going to roll with that still?
We can roll with whatever. Hey, man, look, I just remember when I met you, you were already kind of a big deal, but like this level of like, are you on Get Up in a few minutes? I feel like you're on Get Up every day.
Do you know? No, this the beach setup, the beach studio here it's not conducive to the Get Up treatment. But hey, do you know this is the first vacation I've taken in 5 years, like official capital V vacation.
Wow.
No, I'm not looking for credit for that. I'm just saying I didn't realize, looking back at my schedules and calendars and stuff, because someone asked, "Oh, when's the last time you went on vacation?" And I had to think about it, and then I checked, and it was 2021, maybe. So wow. I don't even know we've already been down here 4 days. I'm speaking quietly because there are people in the other room. I'm kind of ready to go home. I don't even know what to do. I don't know how to act.
Well, you're married now, and you've been married for a year, so I think vacations are in your future, buddy. You better make Savannah happy by going on some vacay.
Well, I made her we did something called shopping the other day. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's where you just
I hate it.
You go into stores and you just stand there, and then there's some bags and stuff that you walk out with. You don't know what happened. You don't know how it happened. And then you just check the credit card statement. And then that's when you find out what happened. And apparently this has been happening for a long time, since basically the dawn of creation. I'm just kind of new to it.
Yeah, it's not my thing when my wife wants to go shop. When I go to the grocery store, Josh, or I go anywhere, I'm in and out. It's 7-8 minutes. Eggs, oatmeal, chicken breast, out, right? It's quick. My wife will go to the grocery store for hours. The mall what do? You just look at stuff, and I go, "Are you thinking about buying it?" No, I just want to look.
Okay,
Why?
So I had this. I wouldn't call it a fight. I had this heated conversation the other day with Savannah State, friend of TexAgs, Savannah State. So she's a friendly here, so we can talk about her in these terms. And we were talking about this. Okay, and I got her and my sister teamed up on me, and they made fun of me because they called the way I shop militaristic, which I think is a compliment because it's in and out, you're on with your day. And so I said to them, like, that's not the flex you think it is. It's a compliment to me. And they said, no, because you don't get the experience if you do it your way. And to them, I said, that's as dumb as telling me I don't hang around the dentist office or the doctor's office longer than my appointment takes for the experience. What experience? And I don't even say that in the jokey way, like man versus woman sort of thing. I'm legitimately asking rhetorically, because I have not gotten an answer. What experience are we talking about? It's not like going to Six Flags or Disney, because even though I'd kind of be miserable there, you could sell me that there's an experience, there's an ambiance, it's a magical place. This is Publix we're talking about. It's get in and get out.
Josh, do you think Robert O'Neill, who might have killed Osama bin Laden in and out, you think he had an experience? I think he did. I think it was a militaristic strike. He remembers it clearly. So there is an experience there.
Yeah, this is my black op. My black op is cheese, eggs, case of water, and I need a new toothbrush. And sometimes, I don't know if you do this, you strike me as the kind of guy who would do this, is you walk in Publix or you walk in a grocery store of your choice and you look down, it's 9:04. And you tell yourself internally, I should be out of here by 9:11, 9:12, 9:15 if they only have one checkout line open, but that's it. Anything past that, and I have failed. As a man, I have failed.
Yeah. I think men do that, like when we're driving. Like I just drove to Florida not long ago, and I got to be in Pensacola by this time or I have failed. That means we can't stop and use the restroom when we get to Mississippi. We got to keep on going because I got a time to hit. I'm the same way in the grocery store.
You'll love this. So when we go storm chasing, a lot of times it's obviously all driving. So the last couple of times we ended up in either Illinois or Indiana, but like northern part of Illinois, northern part of Indiana. And so when you're done, I mean, it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, and then you just type in Nashville on the GPS and you just floor it. So I look at the projected arrival time, 5:38 a.m., let's say, because it's going to be 7 or 8 hour drives normally. And your challenge is, I know I've got to stop 3 times for gas probably on the tank we have in that 4Runner. How much time can I shave off of 5:38? Can I shave it down to 5:15? Could I even get into Nashville by 5 a.m. after baking in those 3 stops? And honestly, that's as big a challenge as the storm chasing itself.
When you have 4 kids, there's no way you can do it under. It's just impossible.
Understand.
So I'm going to ask you a college football question, believe it or not. What team here, July 10th, are you most fascinated by, with maybe some unknowns, or maybe you're waiting to see something proved entering the 26th season?
Probably Ole Miss, but it's not because of unknowns. Like Kewan Lacey's not an unknown. A lot of those defensive guys are not unknowns. Certainly Trinidad Chambliss, everybody knows him, so I'm speaking beyond him. But I don't know if you've gotten this sense. I've gotten the sense in listening to people talk about these various teams that when they talk about Ole Miss, they talk about them like there's this haze of uncertainty and mystery shrouding them, which to a certain extent I get from the coaching standpoint, because I think you could call Pete Golding a first-year head coach this year, even understanding what happened at the end of last year. But beyond all that, Pete's not going to play it down. The players are going to play. And so they're not a stranger to Pete Golding, so there's no acclimation period of them learning him and him learning them. Or if there is, it's minimal. But I look at the playmakers they still have, and I look at the guy at quarterback who I thought was the most dangerous player in the postseason tournament last year. And I'll say it like this. If you're going to give other teams benefit of doubt, with bigger question marks than Ole Miss, I don't know how you don't give Ole Miss benefit of doubt. The only answer there is they haven't earned sort of the country club status. They don't get the blind check mark that Georgia's or Alabama's of the world have gotten in the SEC for a long time. And not that they haven't earned that. Georgia and Alabama have long since earned that, I guess, if you want to play that game. But Ole Miss is one. And if we're going to stick in the SEC, Florida would be the other one, because there are people like me who have overestimated Florida's potential the last 2 years, at least, maybe 3 years. So, now you're really, really cautious, and you want to make that the last team that you circle as a surprise team. But you can't ignore the roster. And you can't ignore that when you look at it, you're thinking to yourself, when you're trying to measure from all angles, what if I was right about the roster talent both years? And what if it was something about structure, organization, head coach, whatever? What if it was something about that was holding us back? And the only thing that was holding it back just got rectified. And now what if I jump off the horse right as it decides to run? That'd be a terrible feeling. So I'm to varying degrees, I'm right there answering your question on Ole Miss and Florida.
Josh, from the perceived playoff teams in the SEC, this is a question that was actually on our message boards. Who do you see as a potential crash and burn? And however you want to describe crash and burn, you want it to mean 8-4, 7-5, it's up to you. But who from the perceived teams could you be like, if things don't go the way we see, they can crash and burn?
I would say Bama. I would say LSU. Trying to think who's labeled a playoff team. I think the only way A&M would is if they're really losing offensive coordinator continuity and having more fluctuation in performance at quarterback, which I don't expect. But if that were to happen, they would be one. So let's go with Alabama and LSU for a second. Okay, with Alabama, been in that building several times over the spring and summer. They believe in the changes they've made. They believe that in time, the run game will be fixed, not just because they focused on blocking and tackling and being gap sound and offensive line and running back, but they also believe the quarterback position will be integral to fixing the offensive line situation, therefore fixing the run game. So if that's true, that's all well and good. If they don't do that, I think Alabama, by SEC standards, has a very favorable schedule, but eventually the meat of that schedule gets there. And if they go 8-4, to them, that's a disaster. And at LSU, LSU's even more variance in outcome to me, because I think there's a wider spectrum of best case, worst case with them. Now, again, I think they believe eventually when all those ingredients combine in the proper proportions, there'll be a pretty big bang down there. And they'll be a pretty serious player. But here's my only question. And it is a question, it's not a doubt. Since they have 3 losable games in the first month of their season, how quickly do those elements congeal in the proper quantities? Or if they don't, can they find a way to scratch out an ugly win early where maybe they do have an early loss, but disaster was averted so that they got a little wiggle room? They don't find themselves having to be completely and utterly perfect over the last 2 months of the season. I would say those two, because I don't think people consider Tennessee in that playoff bubble. I don't think people consider Florida there. Auburn, by the way, to your first question, Auburn would be the other answer on that front. A&M, well, here's the part that has become tradition for you and I, where I ask you a question. What would be the crisis scenario? What would be the disaster scenario? Because everyone keeps saying offensive line nationally. Aside from quarterback, they keep saying offensive line. Okay, so I will tell you this. When I was there in spring, and I was talking to not only Coach Elko, but talking to a lot of just people in the building, I remember it wasn't like they were going out of their way to like throw offensive line in anyone's face or anything, but you could tell they had a little more confidence in their overall quality of depth there. Now, admittedly, they were like, not a lot of people are going to know these names. If you open up your preview magazine, everyone's going to focus on we're replacing 3 or I think 4 starters on the offensive line. That's the stat that everyone's going to focus on. But their stance, sort of a quiet, confident stance, was that of several teams before. I know Georgia and Alabama in the past have been in this position where you're going to trot out 4 new starters, but yet just because he's a new starter doesn't mean all new starters are created equal. And there are a lot of guys that you just feel confident in number one, your ability to develop and then plug. And then number 2, their ability, because that's why they're there. You don't recruit trash to College Station. Like, you've got quality players there. So I'm asking you, because everybody nationally wants to say, oh, that offensive line, that's what's going to hold them back. I don't necessarily look at it that way.
I'm going to tell you the thing that I worry about, and it's not even a position group. It's the end of the season, the end of the schedule. Like from Tuscaloosa to I don't know what kind of team you're going to get from Tennessee to going to South Carolina. Well, that's always been hard for A&M, at least the last few years, to going to Norman and Texas at the end. We've seen this team kind of have these hiccups at the end of seasons, and I think last year was significantly better, but then you lost your last 2, so how much better was it? But it was better, right? They came back against South Carolina. They had a better November. I worry about that, and I'm going to tell you another part of it too, Josh. I think the schedule makers did A&M a favor by making the first half of the season not as difficult as the second half. Now, the second half is not a favor by any stretch, because I think if you have questions about this offensive line, it gives them half a season to come together. Your really tough games are Arizona State and LSU at Baton Rouge, which is going to be difficult, no doubt. But that's all in the first 6 games. So if you're like the University of Texas last year, that it took that offensive line, 9 games to come together, 8 games to come together, I think A&M has an opportunity to really figure that part out. But how does the end of the season look? I'm not as worried about the defensive line as a lot of people. I'm only worried about how long it takes the offensive line to gel, because I think they've got not only dudes that started in the SEC, but maybe some younger players. They're going to take some of those starting jobs.
Yeah, okay, so what you said there, measuring it by SEC standards versus measuring it holistically, when you're comparing schedules, this is always a funny thing to me, because I do agree with you. I think Alabama and Texas A&M both got a good runway to build up some speed. They're both kind of in this vein in similar positions that they kind of believe in their personnel, but until all the puzzle pieces connect and you got a fully formed picture there, it's kind of, wait and see. And you never are going to avoid tough stretches in this league. But if you're in that position, you want your tough stretch to be late October, November, instead of, man, look at this, 3 out of our first 4 weeks. It's going to be single-digit spreads, or we're going to be a short underdog. So I do agree with you there. The trade-off, though, David, on the back end, like your goal is to win a national championship at Texas A&M. That's kind of what you're chasing. And you just think about the boom, 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 boom. I don't know how many booms towards the end of the year. But start with those last 4 games you mentioned. Maybe you're in Atlanta. And then maybe you got to win 4 of them in the postseason. That's a season. That's almost a whole season's worth of games against top 15 rosters at the very least, maybe top 15 teams. But if one of those teams is not top 15, there's some 7 and 5s out there that just fell short. Florida was one last year that beat Texas. They went 4 and 8 or something like that. That didn't mean that roster was any less talented on any given Saturday. That is just brutal. And it's gotten to where you can't tell the truth about that nationally, because then people's rebuttal is, well, if the SEC schedule's so great, why haven't you won a title in 3 years? And well, schedules don't play games. That's why. Doesn't make the point I'm making any less valid, but you do you, buddy. Congratulations, Wisconsin fan, on all your success up there.
You know, I hadn't thought of it in that perspective, so you kind of depressed me there, Josh, where we look at from October 31st on, you're playing a season.
Yeah.
If you are fortunate enough to keep winning, you're playing a season of top 15 teams. That's like a murderer's row that I hadn't even thought that far beyond.
And I'll tell you this. Okay, so we're thinking about it now. This is where honestly, it gets a little too deep psychologically for us to be in mid-July, but let's do it anyway. If you can get to that point, like if we were to press a button and we fast forward and Texas A&M's getting ready for a quarterfinal game and they're relatively healthy, well, then it benefited them to have played that. The whole point is looking at it from a distance, heading towards it, you just assume, hey, if we're going to jump through a meat grinder, even if we make it through, we're going to have cuts all over us. We're not going to come out of that thing 100% or even close to it. And so your whole fear there, if you want to use that word, I don't think they would, but I'll use that word. Your fear is, even if we make it through, man, how hobbled are we? I remember being in Atlanta last year, and we did we did Pat's Altcast. So like we're on the field, and I was on the field earlier in the year when Bama played Georgia the first time, and watching the difference just in the speed of the game in the time they played early in the year versus both of those teams completely beat to death playing in the first week of December was so eye-opening. And then I remember Kirby in his post-game press conference, he's always really good at making big time, like real world points after he wins a title. He said, hey, glad we won the SEC today. What you saw out there, obviously both of those teams were shells of themselves. That's going to be every team next year. Because his point was, we just played our 9th SEC game. The whole league plays 9 of them next year. And then 2 teams in this game are going to be playing their 10th SEC game. So just kind of get ready for it. That's what I think about when I think about strength of schedule.
Josh, I want to ask you one more, and this is Bill Connolly has 2 concerns about the Aggies. He's got them in his top 11 heading into with the FBI index. He says his big concerns are Reed's glitches, some of the turnovers down the stretch, obviously, and the offensive line has a lot of portal help, how they come together. And I made the point to OB, in a way, aren't they the same thing? Because, yes, I know Marcel threw some interceptions last year. But a lot of not the bulk of it, but a third of it came in the last 2 games when I felt like A&M wasn't blocking as well for whatever reason, maybe better defensive lines, maybe they were worn down, whatever it may be. And you also could not run the ball as effectively as you had done most of the season, again, for the same reasons. So I almost look at both of those things as not the exact same thing, but a product of each other, a byproduct of each other.
It's fair. This is why I always believe it's going to come down to your quarterback winning you a national title. Because if you think about the string of games and the string of opponents that you're going to have to beat, you're going to have to beat all of them. Because once you get in postseason play, there's no room for a loss. So if you think about that string, eventually you're going to run into at least 1 or 2 opponents who can shut you down running the ball. By shut down, I mean hold you under 100, hold you into the 3s in yards per attempt. And at that point, you have like half a dozen 3rd and 6 pluses in those games. Julian Sayin had it against Miami. He had it against Indiana too. And they could not make those plays through the air. You can be number 1 in the country rushing during the season, and I'm still going to have the same opinion. It's not that you'll get stuffed running the ball. You're not going to have 13 yards rushing. But if you're used to 205 per game and you're held to 79, then it's your quarterback that has to win you the game, okay? And that means your quarterback has to make good decisions, because at that point, a defense has tilted the game slightly against you. The best quarterbacks can throw a little bit uphill, and then they can shift that thing back. But man, it takes precision, and it takes really good decision making. And unlike this stuff being talked about in October, David, where the worst case scenario is a loss, but that just means you dust yourself off Monday and say, all right, we got less margin for error now. You're playing better competition late with no margin for error. And so I think they're both fair questions. But look, I know it's so commonplace to talk quarterback, but the nuance of why quarterback's the most important position in this sport, it's really magnified in the kind of conversation related to the question you just asked.
Josh, I hope I can do this again with you in Tampa here in a couple of weeks, man. This has been great. Thank you for joining us on your vacation.
It's good to see you, my friend. I'm going to go get sunburnt. I'm going to be irresponsible today.
Go enjoy it, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
That is the great Josh Pate on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll take a break. We will come back, just chit-chat with Reese Niger and find out what's popping on TexAgs today and other things as well. And then we'll talk to Adam Rittenberg of ESPN after that. Right now, we're talking Rollo Insurance. They're my insurance provider. I hope they're your insurance provider. If they're not, wherever you're listening, in Hollywood, well, I don't know if they take care of Hollywood, but move to Texas, they'll take care of you. But they're all over the place. They really are nationwide. They take care of home insurance, ranch insurance. They'll take care of business insurance, you name it. And they're going to know your situation. And you may say to yourself, yeah, man, I got this insurance company. They're great. I call this automated center. It says, please tell me what you want to talk about. And you give them the thing, and it says, please repeat. And you do it again, and please repeat. And okay, we're going to route you up to this guy in Guam. That's fine if you like doing that. I personally like calling my guy. I call Morgan up. Hey, Morgan, see the game? Yeah, me too. Hey, by the way, I got the situation. My kiddo got a speeding ticket. Didn't happen. They've been great so far. But what do you suggest? Whatever it may be. Morgan takes care of me. He can take care of you, as the entire crew at Rollo Insurance can. By the way, our studio is the Rollo Insurance Studio. Visit the website, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO.
Everyone, David Nuno here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
All right, we're back here, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, on the road in Los Angeles, actually Hollywood to be exact right now. Later on today, I'll be moving out to the OC, Orange County, for Gavin Grohowick's draft party. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing where he goes and just hanging out and being a part of the scene and bringing some great content here to TexAgs.com. Let's check in at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Reese, I don't know if you saw on the YouTube page, Luke Gickham-Rise was not happy about Publix talk. I think YouTube automatically removed it. I didn't remove it. He said, we need some more pigskin talk. We got to, because, we're talking about Publix and life and the beach. And that's why we put Pate on on this show, is for breaking down college football, and specifically from an A&M, for his perspective on A&M, but also to get to know him differently. Right? Yeah. Like that's the beauty of TexAgs.
Yeah, we hadn't talked to Josh Pate in a while, so we had to do a little bit of catching up with the man before we dove in to some pigskin talk. But there was plenty of it.
There was a lot. Hey, can you tell me what's on TexAgs today?
I can tell you what's on TexAgs today. Threads on threads on threads, as usual. Bronny's baseball portal tracker got another commit yesterday. Maybe a few more on the way. K's volleyball off-season thread, the national champions, getting ready for the season to kick off. Luke's basketball off-season thread. There is a commit currently playing in the Bryan College Station area. Richard's article on Lamar baseball transfer Jarrett Williams, around the SEC recruiting with Jason Howell, as well as his 3 things. And registration for preseason kickoff is still open, but spots are limited. The event is on July 25th at the MSC. Later today and this weekend, obviously, you are in California to cover Gavin Grohowick with the MLB Draft. We have some Bronny Richard content coming out later today. I'll let you guys guess what that is. Articles on each draftee as they come off the board as well. And then, as I mentioned with the basketball commit, we might have something special coming with that. And then, of course, the baseball portal thread will be live and active throughout the weekend.
Yeah, I want to read a couple of text messages and respond to something that Pate said before we go to Adam Rittenberg. 361 texts in, y'all see Klein's interview at Big 12 Media Days. I feel that he was preoccupied before the TU game and the Miami game for sure. I didn't see it yet. I've seen a lot of people write about it. But look, is it possible? Sure. I'm going to tell you, at least from my perspective, I can do multiple things at once. I can't speak for Colin Klein. He was always a gentleman when I spoke to him. I liked his time here. But when I was leaving 13 for TexAgs, I put in the exact same amount of work that I did every day before that, even though I went elsewhere, right? Even when I was interviewing, my process did not change. Is it possible that your life can get cluttered and you aren't firing on all cylinders? Yeah, absolutely. But we're in a new place, and we've got Holman Wiggins now, so I'm looking forward to that. The other thing that I am... So, Reese, I don't know, and Nick, you can talk about this as well. If A&M runs into that whole season problem that we just heard a moment ago, right? Like if they have to play, a whole season of top 15 teams from October 31st on, basically, that's a great problem to have. But I hadn't thought of it from that perspective, because when you go to Tuscaloosa and then you go to South Carolina, which I'm not saying they're going to be a top 15 team, and then you got Tennessee, and then you got at Oklahoma, and then you have Texas, and maybe if you're lucky enough, you somehow you survived all that, and you get to go to Atlanta, and then you play a Miami in the first round, and then you play a Georgia in this, like thinking that is a full season still ahead of you against top teams from October 31st on, to me, is not only humbling, it's depressing. But this is what you sign up for.
Yeah, it's one of those things you beat a top team and you're thinking, okay, we got that big win, put that behind us. We've got whatever in front of, and then you turn around and it's another top 15 team. But like you said, people will throw out if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. But it is kind of depressing because you get that big win, but you can't exactly savor it for very long because you turn around and realize that you have to get another big win literally a week later.
Yeah, it's Nick, anything you want to add to that? I think about that's, but again, Coach Elko, he's going to talk about the process, not skipping steps, right? If you look at the end destination and don't look at what's ahead of you, you're never going to get that opportunity. If you're Texas A&M, you just, Montana State, and you just go from there, right? It's a weekly build. And hopefully you have something like last season where you start believing in yourself midway through the season. And this time you finish it, right? You finish the job. And I don't know if finishing the job means a national championship, getting past where you were last year. If it's, with this schedule, going 9-3 feels like a really good season. I don't know as of today because there's so many unknowns with this team. But knowing that that's what you have to do, someone's going to do it. So why not it be us?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say, David. I was one team does it every year. Why can't it be A&M? I think Elko has proven that he can, sustain the week-to-week grind. Now, maybe the end of the season obviously gets a lot tougher, just given the way they finished the past 2 years. But I think year 3, he's learned from those mistakes. He knows what he needs to adjust. So, why can't they figure that out this year? Like, I don't think they think about it that way because, heck, when Josh said it, I had the same reaction as you did. I was like, oh, dang, that is true. I got to play that many more games against this many good teams. But that's kind of what the SEC is too anyway. So, one team's got to do it. Why can't it be A&M?
Yeah. All right. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back with Adam Rittenberg of ESPN, who's also in California on vacation. I'm bothering people, guys. I'm trying to bring you the great content. Right now, when it comes to your money, don't you want someone who actually gets our community, Bryan College Station? Not some guy here in Hollywood handling your money. Someone who bleeds maroon and white and knows what it is to build something in the Brazos Valley. And that's what Guaranty Bank and Trust does. Their market president, Brandon Sears, an Aggie, great guy. He planted his roots there in Bryan College Station because the community matters to him. And that passion shows up with the team that he does, that he's built there, and the banking that they do. Community banking means that your loan doesn't get shipped off somewhere else, 2 states away. It means the person approving your mortgage lives down the street. It means Bryan College Station grows as you grow, and you grow with them. Guaranty Bank and Trust wants to grow with you. They support local businesses, financial education, you name it. Check it out. It is Guaranty Bank and Trust. The website is gnty.com. Guaranty Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. And we are back, TexAgs Live on the road in Los Angeles. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We're going to go back to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend Adam Rittenberg, ESPN senior college football writer, who I believe loves soccer as well. Adam, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, David. Hope you're doing well.
Thanks for joining us. I know you're on vacation, so thanks for making a few minutes for us. So as we get closer to camp, as we are about, Big 12 Media Days happening, SEC Media Days happening real soon, what do you think is going to be the biggest college storyline that we're tackling here over the next month? Because we've had so many storylines already. Sorsby, expansion of playoffs. Like, there's been so many different things this year. Obviously the Protect College Sports Act. What do you think is the next big wave of things we're going to be talking about?
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see how much of a pivot takes place between all those stories that, certainly dominated the offseason, the 5 for 5, the eligibility situation. I know that came up a little bit at Big 12 Media Day, but there's also a pivot, right? Then we now start talking about the teams and, who's going to be quarterbacking these teams, where the transfers landed, where coaches feel confident or not confident, how they match up. I mean, the fans truly nationally get more interested around late July, early August, and they want to know about their teams. They want to know who's going to be good. They want to know predictions. And so this is the fun time of year. Not that those other stories aren't fun. I mean, they're fun for other people. They're not really fun for me. But I think this is now when we're going to see just a tone change around the sport.
Adam, I just talked to Josh Pate a minute ago, and we were kind of going through what A&M would have to do to be able to win a national championship if they're that level of team. And, they got to go to Tuscaloosa, and the whole second half of the season is a playoff run itself. And then you start a playoff run. But I know that's not just an A&M thing. With this 9th game, and I know the SEC hasn't been winning national championships the last few years, but that grind that most teams are going to be facing that last month of the season plus beyond kind of goes back to what Kirby Smart talked about after the SEC championship game last year, that these teams are beat up.
Yeah, they are. And I think coaches are aware of that in terms of how they structure their off seasons and how they structure their practices in some cases and what they're putting on players' plates. And I talk with a number of coaches just about how the pace of games has changed to much more mirror the NFL. Fewer possessions and more that happens in the final 2 minutes of halves. And, part of that is, I think, a reflection of how long the season is and how you can't play 85, 90 plays every game when you potentially have a 16, 17 game season ahead of you. And that's certainly the aspiration of a program like Texas A&M. So all of that goes into the equations when these coaches are figuring out, the practices, the preseason camps, how much to go good on good. All this is part of that calculation. I think to Josh's point, what you guys are talking about, we're going to have to get more familiar, or not familiar, but comfortable with the idea of a 9-3 team making the college football playoff, because there's going to be some 9-3 resumes, whether it's Texas A&M or Ohio State has an incredibly tough schedule. There's some other ones in the Big Ten, SEC. Those type of candidates are going to be on the table and likely under consideration just because of who they're playing. The ninth SEC game is a massive change, right? And now it's a much more standardized around the sport that most of the contending teams are going to be really tested.
Adam, follow me on this journey, because I talked about this earlier in the week. I don't think long-term this is the right answer, and certainly back in the day it wasn't the right answer. But forever, everybody wanted to be either in the Big Ten or the SEC. And while that's still probably the case, the way it is right now, with the 12-team playoff era, with the NIL era, I almost feel like if you have the funds to play the game, it makes more sense to be in the ACC like Miami or in the Big 12 like Texas Tech, because you're not guaranteed a playoff spot, but you're not going to get beat up like you are in these other conferences.
You aren't, but I think your spots are going to be limited. I mean, let's face it: the Big 12's had two teams in that have gotten in. They've had their champion get in every year. They haven't had an at-large team. The ACC obviously did have an at-large team, in part because their championship formula last year was really screwed up, and their best team, Miami, was not in the championship game. And so, that SMU loss that Miami had nearly knocked them out of the playoff. It took a lot of things breaking their way, including Notre Dame, falling below them in the final rankings for them to get in. So I hear your point, and I think you certainly can, with the right investments, and both of those programs have done that, especially Texas Tech in the Big 12. Nobody's investing like they are in that conference, even though there's a lot of good teams. There's no heavy investor type teams other than Texas Tech. And in the ACC, Miami has also stepped out in how it's attracting top transfer quarterbacks. They go from Cam Ward to Carson Beck and now to Darian Mensah. They're able to recruit at a nationally elite level. They're able to retain really whoever they want, and they're able to add not volume add from the portal, but add some really key players who can make a difference for them as they follow up that run to the national championship game. So I think it's limited opportunities, but a little bit easier path certainly in those two leagues if you're a program that has the talent level like Miami did last year to win a national championship.
To borrow a topic from earlier in the offseason, but just what you think where we are right now, do you think we're going to get a 16-team playoff here soon, the 2014 playoff? I know that there's a deadline they have to decide. Do you think it's going to be a couple years of figuring it out, or do you think that's the next step here soon?
It's the next step. It's just a matter of when, right? I mean, I understand both sides of it. The Big Ten was in a different position early last year and wanted a model that had a lot of automatic qualifiers. That was soundly rejected around the sport, and so they came up with a different idea that was initially mocked, the larger playoff, the 2014, and now it has much more support outside of the SEC, and the SEC might come around to that. There's obviously some in the SEC that already advocate for the 2014 playoff, and I think once the money is figured out and the SEC could be comfortable with the idea of giving up its championship game, which is understandable. That thing has been around for 30 years and has been an incredibly successful event. So they need to know, hey, if we're going to do this, we're not going to lose money. And I think that's the point that's still out there. That's a little bit of an unknown, and why I understand their position to not go forward. I think this playoff is fine at 12. I mean, it certainly worked out for A&M last year, worked out for other teams. But these playoffs tend to expand because of the need for money, and you could say opportunity, but it really comes down to money for some of these conferences. And I do think we'll get there. Whether it happens this year, I'm probably not going to put a prediction on that.
Adam, how long do you think it's going to take for Lane Kiffin to make that a Lane Kiffin team like we've seen? Like, is this going to be a quick project, I guess is what I'm asking, or do you think it's going to take a little time?
Well, I think it'll be really interesting to see how they're built. He obviously did a great job at Ole Miss with transfers. He did a really good job there with some developing of players who maybe weren't seen as elite players who became that under him. Now he's at an A-list job. He's at a job where you can recruit in the top 5 and you can spend in the top 5 and you can add transfers. And LSU's done that. LSU really stepped up from a transfer standpoint, even last offseason under Brian Kelly, and you'll continue to do so this year, with Lane bringing in Sam Levitt and a number of other notable transfers. So I think the roster construction is going to be interesting going forward. I think Lane has sort of set the groundwork that, year one, maybe they're not quite there, but year 2 and beyond, this is a team that, will be disappointed if it's not in the college football playoff and contending for national championships. So, I think this year you look at the SEC and you have Texas and Georgia that certainly have rosters that are capable of going all the way. And then who else joins them? Is A&M back in that mix? Is Oklahoma back in that mix? Alabama? But I think in the future, after this first season in Baton Rouge, we should be talking about LSU as an absolute bona fide national contender. If not, then something's gone wrong, right? I mean, why else did they invest what they invested to bring Lane in after his success at Ole Miss?
Well, and then the flip side of that is the Ole Miss part of the equation. And I'm not super torn, but I'm kind of torn how good they're going to be because, hey, we saw what Trinidad Chambliss did last year, right? Kawan, we know, but it is going to be different people pushing the buttons of that offense.
Yeah, it is. And, he was the quarterback you didn't want to play at the end of last season. Arguably no quarterback, even Fernando Mendoza, was hotter than Trinidad was. And so how does he carry that over now into year 2 that he's there? And certainly the first full year under Pete Golding. And, obviously having Kewan Lacey alongside him in the backfield, that's really dynamic. But there's some new faces at receiver. There's new faces on defense. Obviously, John David Baker is a new play caller, even though he's got some familiarity, having been at Ole Miss before. I know he was really excited about Kiwan when I talked to him a few months ago, just about his potential this year. So it is going to feel a little bit different. And, but I think what's exciting is that they have an opportunity because of their quarterback to continue that success and set Pete Golding up for future success. And we're going to find out just how good of a head coach Pete Golding is. Frankly, he was a guy I did not hear on head coaching radars for other jobs. He was seen as a very successful defensive coordinator, an incredible recruiter, obviously with ties to the South and the Southeast, but was not seen as the next Marcus Freeman. Let's just put it that way. But he's got that opportunity now. He's taking over a team that made the playoff last year and has those aspirations again. And if they're able to get back and make another playoff appearance, their first two in school history, then look out. The Ole Miss is a team that we have to really have in that same conversation with the others that I listed year to year. So it is a huge year for Pete and that program to continue the success, because if they go 7-5, 8-4, I think it'll be easier to sort of write them off as hey, you know what? They had that one great year under Lane Kiffin, and then it slipped back.
Adam, great stuff, man. Thanks for joining us on your time away. We'll talk to you at some point, okay?
All right, thanks, David.
Take care. Adam Rittenberg there on the Puppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Appreciate his insight here on the program. We'll hit a break. Got a final segment before Richard takes over for the fan show. Right now, when you're craving authentic food in the Brazos Valley, you got to check out Frutella. Frutella Italian Cafe in Bryan. It's delicious, family-owned restaurant, all about fresh, homemade craft with every single ingredient just coming from the heart there. They have daily lunch specials from 11 to 3, a warm, inviting atmosphere, and is the perfect spot to unwind during your lunch break. The food is just delicious. That's what it comes down to, right? The calzone, the Copper Dome pizza, you name it, they have it all. They want to cater your next event, no matter the occasion, big, small, whatever it may be, from birthdays to holidays to corporate gatherings. Let them take care of you. It is Frutella Italian Cafe, 3901 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. Discover why it's more than a meal. It's a tradition. It's Frutella. All right, welcome back. TexAgs Live on the road in Los Angeles, Hollywood to be exact. Tomorrow, we're going to Orange County, hanging out with Gavin Grahovic for the MLB Draft. Looking forward to that. Make sure you're tuned in to TexAgs.com for all the latest. I'm going to read this quick text message before I check in with Reese Nygren. David and Temple, please explain your shirt. The Sand Dollar? I don't know if that's a Sand Dollar. I don't know what it is. It's for High Rocks, an event that I did back in January. I guess that's their logo. That's the shirt. High Rocks. You should try it out. Let's go check in with Reese Nygren. Nick, if you can mute yourself, please. Nygren at the Angry Elephant News and Social
Hello.
Center. Hey, buddy.
So Mike Elko got nominated to a preseason watch list yesterday. The Bobby Dodd Trophy preseason watch list was announced yesterday. The award is one of the sport's most coveted trophies, as the selection considers the success of the team on the field, but also stresses the importance of leadership, integrity, and scholarship. A midseason watch list will be revealed during the season, and then the finalist will be announced at the conclusion of the regular season. Elko, if he were to win the award, would be the first Aggie to win the award in its existence.
Good stuff there, Mr. Nygren. I appreciate you. I believe we only have like 30 seconds left. So here's what we're going to do. Because the guys are in studio, Browning and May, we're going to have Richard Zane host the fan show. Make sure you go to TexAgs.com for all the latest. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back in. Final hour of TexAgs Live brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers. For the entire week, as the weekend is about to arrive, I'm Richard Zane inside the Rollo Insurance Studio. And it is time now for the best segment of the entire week. It is the Fan Show.
Hey, Richard, I love it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to butter you up.
He butters us up. He's great.
Get you guys talking and on a roll so we can fill an hour pretty easily.
Yeah, because he hasn't been drained from the first 3 hours of the show today, getting here. So he's spry, he's bouncy. And he did that. His explanation on how the MLB draft earlier was phenomenal. I've already told him that. So
well, I appreciate you. That voice you hear is Matt Browning, and to his left is Roy May, the former Yale leader himself. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Doing good. I mean, it's Friday.
Yeah,
it's Friday. The weather's beautiful.
How does a Friday edition of the Fan Show differ from the Thursday normalcy? Well, normalcy, I don't know, is a word that we can use with the Fan Show ever.
I just had to remember it. I had a meeting. I have a Friday morning standing meeting with this Game Day Suites project that we're working on, and we got done, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, crap."
So glad you made it.
We
won't hear David say "see you manana." So
maybe
we won't hear David say anything.
Yeah, we haven't seen David. I haven't seen David in like 2 months.
That's true, because I was here last week.
Yeah, I missed one week, and then the last few weeks we had the girls one time. So we haven't seen David. I forget what he looks like.
Well, if you just need a reminder, he's down there in the little box,
there
the frozen screen on
Was it the High Rock shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, everything he wears.
He just. I promise you, that guy just went to the hotel gym.
I think he was talking about getting up early in the morning and walking down, go get coffee on Hollywood Boulevard. I think he got up early to go for a run. That's what I think. And there was just a stop on the way back for some coffee.
Yeah, he's maniacal. So
yeah, he actually got his coffee in the morning. It was about 9 miles outside of L.A. He ran there and ran back.
He ran to Anaheim to get it.
And he lunged his way back.
Yeah, the rumor is that he's leaving so early for Orange County tomorrow for Gavin Grahovec's because he's running out there from Hollywood. Yeah. So, all right, enough David Nuno fitness chatter. Let's go ahead and check in with our guy over at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, Reese Nygren himself. He's got the question. He's got the question that always starts the Fan Show.
I'm going to start with Matt.
Oh, good.
What is on your mind this morning? I think I have an idea based on the conversation we had at the break.
Yeah. So, well, again, it's like we say, we call this the doldrums, right? So, there's some good Aggie stuff. We got I do want to know more about this pitcher we got yesterday. I love getting my texts, which is great, and but it's like recruiting is a little slow right now, and of course we don't have any active sports going. So, I've basically been thinking about what everyone around the country has kind of been somewhat watching, and that's the World Cup. And so we haven't been here since our demoralizing loss last week, or earlier this week. So, I've got issues with soccer. I'm going to be honest. I started to like soccer. I mean, I'm going through. So I've actually started to like soccer especially like on the local level, like the high school level, watching, like I said, Gonzales girls won state last year, going through that and watching soccer and trying to understand the sport, and I really enjoyed it. But World Cup I hate to say this, it's almost unwatchable with the flopping. The flopping is the first thing they've got to fix that. They've got to get rid of that. And I'm going to be honest, that red card the penalty has to fit the crime, and that red card could absolutely change the entire fortune of something unintentional could change the entire fortune of someone's, World Cup, game, the whole tournament for them. And so I think the penalty needs to fit the crime there. The clock I can live with. I think the clock is dumb, but the clock I can live with. Some of the other things that are quirky about soccer, or I can live with, but the flopping's got to go. So.
I feel like for this whole discussion, you and I should trade seats. That way I can be the moderator and you guys can go back and forth. So after that entire diatribe, Roy, your rebuttal?
I'm not even going to, no.
He agrees on the flopping. He agrees on the flopping.
I think World Cup football is some of the most exciting football because, for those that are soccer fans and watch the Premier League, because generally, if you're a soccer fan in America, you watch Premier League, right?
Sure.
I think I like it more because of the style of play, because they don't get to play together. So you really get to see the stars be stars, right? And that's what we love to see, as opposed to tactically moving the ball around the field and where they're just playing football. So I love it. I think the play has been exciting. I think the tournament's been exciting. But we're not doing this a second week in a row. We're not doing that. Now, what's in my mind?
Hey, I did forget to ask you who are we supposed to cheer for between England and Mexico?
Well, that's the thing. My fiance asked me the same question. So, like, now who are we rooting for? Oh, between England and Mexico?
Yeah, because
we almost got the perfect answer, and that would have been extra time and penalty kicks. I thought that game was amazing theater.
It was a good game. That was a good game.
From my perspective, I didn't want either of them to win. But to me, as far as the soccer aspect goes, the lesser of two evils would have been England, though I didn't want England to advance because I don't want them anywhere close to winning the World Cup.
See, my thought was...
But it's the biggest rival. Mexico is the United States' biggest soccer rival. So
I didn't know
watching them win ever kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Like, do you ever want the University of Texas to win a game in anything?
That's why I was asking. I didn't, Mexico, Mexico, we've got, I've literally talked to people that are like, that whose families are from Mexico, and they're like, but they're Americans, and I say, who are you cheering for? If the U.S. and Mexico play,
Brother, we ended the rivalry with England 250 years ago.
Yeah, we just celebrated that.
Yeah, we did. We won that.
And I think I finally recovered. No, what's on my mind actually on the flip side, it's kind of those doldrums, but then you look up and you see we pick up a pitcher, softball's picking up recruits.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, TexAgs just continuing to kick content out. Like Nuno being out there to hang out with Grahovac. Like, that's cool. Like, that's really cool. Like, that's a great experience for a kid that's a great ag. So for me, it's just, we're kind of in this, it's building phase, right? We're building into talking season because all of a sudden it's going to be upon us. Saw something the other day. I think we're below 90 days before the season starts at this point. And
I think we're way closer than that. There's a headline that's going out today. I think it's 50 days until week 0.
Yeah. No, it's July. It's got to be.
Yeah, July.
Yeah, that's bonkers. So it's, it just goes by so fast, but I just enjoy the summers while the students are gone.
Yeah. Being able to drive around town, it's picking up. You only have a couple more weeks of that, right? The students will be back in
let's start
July,
moving back.
Early August.
They'll start moving back, and then for the first 2 weeks of the semester, Wellburn and Texas Avenue, or you can't even drive on them. But then all the kids stop going to class. So
of course, and then what they do is they wait till all the kids leave, and then they start all the road construction. So
Highway 6 is
Highway 6 is a disaster right now. So
yeah, that is true. Any thoughts on the United States going out? I know we were talking soccer. I know.
Yeah, I think it was it's just such a poor showing. I think it was. What is it? Everybody's trying to point to what happened, right? Is it the noise from all the Balogun stuff and the red card? Is it Pulisic not stepping up and playing how he needed to? Is it the back line looking like hot garbage? It was like this whole conflict. It's like everybody had their worst day ever.
Yeah.
And you picked a bad squad to do that against. And when you're at this point, the knockout stage, every squad's a bad squad to do that against. So it's like firing a firework, and you see it go up, and all this anticipation, you just pop.
Yeah.
It was pretty. I mean, I was very upset.
It was atrocious.
It was one of those matches, and for those 61 seconds after they tied the match on the Tillman free kick, everyone's so excited, and then it immediately went far. And there was nothing after that to get excited about.
I posted about it. I was like, hey, every U.S. fan that's watching right now, welcome to what it's like to be a West Ham fan. Because anytime we score, I'm like, here comes the equalizer.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're also Aggies, so we know how we understand disappointment. So I'll say that.
Yeah, that was just kind of
My concern with that disappointment was it was so disappointing. Did it undo all of the good that the previous 4 weeks had done? Because
you're going to get two different answers.
I was hoping, and I know people have been saying that American soccer fans have been saying this since the World Cup was here in 1994, that this event would help spur this country and drive more interest in the sport to where we could one day not be hoping to contend to get into these later rounds, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, all of that, but expecting to be there. And now after after what happened on Monday night, I feel like everyone is so quick to turn the TV off and forget about soccer that the interest is going to be significantly less than I think the first 4 weeks would have deserved.
Well, and here's where I think.
And I think you're going to get two different answers here, by the way.
I don't think there's going to be like just back to status quo. And it's not because people turn the TV off watching soccer. I think the positive that came out of all of this, and it's not just from American pundits. I've heard this from English pundits as well. Thierry Henry even touched on this. The system of youth soccer in America has to change. And now we're finally having that conversation. And if that leads to the system in America changing at the youth level to make it affordable, because all you need is the ball, man. It's all you need. So we make it affordable, that changes the face of American soccer moving forward. And for me, that's the positive I draw out of that wet fart performance that we saw, is that, and they admit to it, they all talk about it. They say, America has some of the best athletes, period.
Mm-hmm.
But soccer is not accessible. It's not. You can't expect somebody to pay $4,000 a year for their kid to play at 7 years old. That's bonkers. It's crazy talk.
Yeah.
So if the positive from this is changing the youth system, then I think there's a positive impact on American soccer.
And so I don't know if you listened to Tuesday's edition of the show, and this kind of topic was brought up, and Kendall Stowers was over in the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. She's talking about, playing club volleyball is extremely expensive too. So it's not just soccer. It's volleyball. It's baseball. It's AAU basketball. It seems the only youth sport system we have right in this country is football, and it's uniquely our own because everybody can play through their school for the most part if they wish to. And we also have an understanding that you don't need to be playing more football outside of the singular high school football season.
Right. You don't need to play outside of that. And while I think it's hilarious to watch because they look like little Jack-in-the-Box bobbleheads running all over the place at 6 and 7 years old playing football, it's not necessary to play at that age. It's really not. Soccer is a sport that you can start at 5, and you need to. It's a unique sport in that sense. It's like you really need to start at 5. But she's dead right on it when it comes to the travel volleyball. Our daughter was in travel basketball for a couple of summers, and we were like, this is absolutely stupid. Like, there's no way we're doing this anymore. It's a complete waste of time. And it starts turning into a job for them. But soccer is one where if you don't have the money, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the kid's good or not. It doesn't matter if the kid wants to play or not. Like, if you don't have the money, the kid's just not going to play.
Yeah, I mean, we did travel volleyball. And so it was, every single weekend, it's a trip to Houston. So it's not only financial. I mean, I know the financial part is probably the biggest hurdle, but you also have to have time as parents. You've got to
value of time.
Especially if you're here. Like if we're here in Bryan College Station, we've got to drive to Houston or Austin or Dallas for these tournaments constantly. I mean, I know people whose kids are good at who get to the higher levels that end up having to go to Florida, North Carolina, all these different. They have to travel and fly their kids. So it's an incredibly expensive thing. So I think what Roy's saying is if it does create change, that'd be good. I mean, again, I would love to see. I mean, I'm watching these Belgium players, and I'm looking at these guys going, there's no way you're telling me we don't have guys that are better athletes than these dudes. This is a country of 11 million people. We have Texas is 3 times the size of Belgium, and they just beat us in a sport. That's a 6A school going against a 1A school,
and we just
got
us. They
dominated us,
lockered us.
So
yeah,
I think it went, buddy. But I think that's from a novice standpoint, right? So Roy's a true soccer fan. I'll give him that. He is an absolutely true soccer fan. Watches it, lives by it, right? I am a novice, complete novice. The World Cup's in, the United States is in. I'm watching, right? Yeah. Now that they're done, I won't watch another ounce of soccer. I'm just going to be frank, right? And I imagine most people listening right now are the same way. We're just not going to watch it. It's not our sport. But so I think that's what hurt us. I think that the fact that we don't have our best athletes out there, number one, it limits us from cheering for that and going all in because we're getting dominated by a 1A school, basically.
Yeah, if you lose, you can basically say, oh, well, if LeBron was out there, we'd be much better.
Yeah. I mean, if you have, like I've always said, I think somebody, you think about a guy like Reggie Bush or Devon Achane playing soccer for us, right? I mean, I don't know if they'd be good soccer players, but I mean, they're better athletes than anyone Belgium will ever produce, right? And so the idea is, but then I'm telling you right now, the quirkiness and some of the things about soccer that go against what we as Americans think about when we think about our sports, I think that's the biggest detriment to us really diving in as a soccer country.
I think baseball is like the automatic counter to that, because baseball is a 2.5 hour long sport that is it's very direct, and it's it's very intentional sport.
And it's quirky.
But if you're not a baseball fan, that's a tough watch.
Yeah,
baseball is a tough watch if you're not a baseball fan.
It is, but I'll tell you this. All the Europeans that were going to games at Fenway, or I guess the
they
most
just went to get
recent one
hammered
was
and sing.
The English fans at the Atlanta game the other. They know nothing about what's going on. They're just there for the vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: if there was a giant football tournament going on in Europe, and we went to watch that, like American football tournament, and there was a soccer game, I'd want to go to that too, and just to see, because I know they're probably bonkers, because they are passionate about their sport. Don't get me wrong, but I think from an American standpoint, there's just some quirks there that just won't will never appeal to a broad audience.
Well, I'll counter you one more time. I think the impact in the run, and really just the whole spectacle that being in the U.S. and seeing what it could be in the U.S. See, for you and me, well, for you, like people our age, we're a lot more cynical than the kids watching this tournament. And the kids that love to play soccer or want to play soccer, right? And they saw the pageantry, and they saw what the sport could be in the States, like really what it could be. And they got to see it. Some of them got to go to World Cup matches. And the youth are the ones who are going to drive this game if the adults will get out of the way. And so the kids aren't going to be as cynical about it. Like, you may have how many kids now want a Balogun, kit? So it's, you have to think in terms of the ones that are going to be our future stars.
If you're going to shop for kits, I would buy a number 20 instead of a number 10 after that showing. I know I don't want to talk World Cup the entire time on this fan show, but
we've
just
already lost everybody.
As we wrap up this segment, U.S. is out. There's quarterfinal games today, and then 2 more tomorrow. What are you guys still tuned in? Are you watching? Who are you rooting for? Are you allowed to root for any? Will you allow yourself to root for anybody?
That's a great question. Let me ask y'all, since y'all are the soccer guys, who should we cheer for? I mean, because we don't know. So the rest of us don't know.
Well, this guy just got back from Norway.
We're rowing.
We're
he
Norwegian
spent 2 weeks
rowing.
in Norway.
Norway's easy to root for. Erling Haaland he seems just like a fantastic person. I like their kit, but but for me,
kit means uniform,
jersey.
Okay.
But
you're with the lingo now.
I'm trying to learn.
We're trying to make you.
We're working on you.
I'm not the only one.
But I've always been, obviously USA first, and then if they get knocked out, my 2 go-tos are my heritage, German and England.
Okay.
Germany and England.
And Germany's out.
Germany's out.
The English are still in.
But the English are never going to win it. Yeah. Like it's like cursed.
Jenna asked me who I was rooting for. It's like I could find a reason not to root for all of them.
Yeah.
So my viewing is I want to see the stars be stars. And as a Tottenham fan, it would be really awesome to see Harry Kane win the Golden Boot in the World Cup, but not win the World Cup.
That's fair.
But I could also find reasons not to root for Argentina, not to root for France.
I just want good football.
Yeah, that's true. That's how I am. And the way I operate in any sport, whether it's the World Cup or baseball, the World Series, if my team's not going to win it, I want the team with the least number of fans that I know to win it. That way I never have to hear about it.
To hear about it.
So I think that makes Norway the easy pick. Or Switzerland. Are Switzerland still in? I don't even know. Anyways.
I think it's Swiss guy.
We're off and running. We're continuing the fan show here on a Friday morning edition of TexAgs Live, brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers. Welcome back. Fan show here on a Friday morning edition of TexAgs Live, brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers. Richard Zane, joined by Matt Browning, Roy May, inside the Rollo Insurance Studio. And I want to ask Roy about his 4th of July, and in particular, decorations, whether it be around the house, on your boat, if you have one, anything like that.
Well, I didn't take the boat out into a parade, so I didn't have to decorate my boat or a competition per se. I'm not big on interior decorations for holidays minus Christmas.
Yeah.
But outside, I put out, I lined the curb and driveway with flags. I bought some, about 3 foot wide patriotic stars, put on my fence, put on my house, put flags in my garden. I bought July 4th lights. So lit up my house red, white, and blue in the evenings. Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to do it for the 250th, right?
Yeah.
Like, just completely go overboard. So I'm taking out, and I bought some red, white, and blue, what do you call them, little twirly thingies?
The pinwheels?
Pinwheels, thank you. Yeah. So I'll pull out all the flags, and I'll pull out the pinwheels, but I think I've decided I'm going to leave the patriotic stars up.
Sweet.
Nice.
Just,
nice.
Basically, only take them down for Christmas.
Now, make sure you were. I'm just trying to make sure you were listening, Matt.
Yeah, I was listening.
Decoration advice.
Yeah, so we.
Now, I will say that if I had a boat and I needed to decorate
it, we spent the weekend out at the lake, and they say, hey, there's a boat parade. So we decided to jump in the boat parade, just thinking we're going to go around waving at people and whatnot. This is our first year doing this, and then we end up finding out that we weren't in a boat parade. We were in a boat decoration contest. Drove right past. I mean, and we had not a single decoration on this boat. We had probably the lamest one. Had no idea what we were doing. I'm pretty sure we got booed by about 300 people.
I would have booed.
And so, yeah, pretty embarrassing. So that was my weekend. So
it's amazing.
Yeah,
you just thought you were showing up, hang out, enjoy the community, and drive around.
And now everybody up on the grass watching thinks you're the socialist.
They do. I mean, like I was protesting the 250th instead of enjoying it.
There's only 2 ways for you to go from here, right? You can either never enter this boat parade ever again,
or go all
for 251, 252, so on and so forth. Or, as you just said, go all out make it your mission. Start planning right now to win the award, win the boat parade next year.
Yeah, for your own safety, or maybe at least to get some points on it, you might want to go buy a different boat. And maybe for your theme, make it colonial so you can wear a wig and a beard so they don't recognize you.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So they don't dock you points.
That's a great idea. Might have to do that. No, we've decided we're going to go all out and we're just going to win this thing.
We need to put Browning in tights, tri-corner hat.
So whatever.
Yeah, you should go all out. Founding fathers, or do like a Mount Rushmore. You and the family, everyone dress up as a different president.
Just do Washington crossing into Delaware.
Yeah, that's what I should have done.
Stand up in the front of the boat.
Just one leg up, just holding the flag. Yeah.
Way hotter in Texas on July 4th than Washington crossing the Delaware back in the day.
Well, yeah. So maybe like get the tights and cut them into shorts. Like cut the sleeves off the colonial.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Texas version.
So
do something.
That was last weekend. This weekend, the biggest A&M sporting storyline to follow is the MLB Draft. I know. I'm probably going to be a little bit more tuned into that than most. But for you guys, what are you watching when it comes to MLB Draft? And will you even have the draft tracker up on your phone, or are you just going to let TexAgs let you know when and who was taken?
I always let TexAgs tell me, especially for MLB. I can watch NFL draft. The MLB draft's hard to watch. I mean,
it's tough.
I feel for you having to watch the entire
The only
thing.
way to watch it is, especially when you get to Sunday, is just have the draft tracker and keep an eye on it on your computer all day, which means you got to be within arm's length of the computer, but that's the only way to watch.
I will say, though, this for MLB drafts, this will be the one that's we've actually, it's been kind of fun going from Braden going so high, and then Jace last year, and then now to 3 guys that could be in the top two rounds. I mean, I know it doesn't say, I mean, like for your normal football fan going, second round in MLB is that's a huge accomplishment. I mean, that's a massive accomplishment.
Well, you're also going up against high school players too.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so you got so it is. I mean, it is, but it is crazy to me. What is Gavin currently ranked according
to Hovic's MLB.com's 38th overall prospect?
And I will say this. I mean, for those of us who've watched him, to go, that guy's the 38th best prospect. It seems crazy to us, right? But I know that they're looking at, like you said, high school players. I mean, pitching is so much more of a big deal, going into this. So I know a lot of pitchers come off the board, but that guy has just been such a great Aggie, such a great player, and I'm thrilled for him. Him and Caden, and even Hakopian, who just wasn't here very long. But to watch Caden and Sorrell just grow up, or Sorrell and Grahovic just grow up in front of us, was a lot of fun to watch. And they'll always be appreciated, and they'll always be legends here.
Your point of him being the 38th best prospect is crazy, because prospect does not have the same definition as player.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to be able to find 38 players better than Gavin Grahovic.
Where's Caden? What's Caden?
Sorrell's 33, so he's just ahead. So everyone expects Chris Hakopian to be the first Aggie off the board, somewhere in that 10 to 20 range. But as far as who's next, it could be either Sorrell, Grahovic, in any order, somewhere pick 25 to 50, which is a big range, but it'll go pretty quick on Saturday.
And I apologize, but explain this to me. And I like Chris. I mean, I think he was a great player, but at no point, at any point this season, did I think he was the best player on our team. I've found him to be. I always said he was the third. He was the third in that group. But I always thought Gavin and Caden were 1A and 1B. Why do they consider him to be better?
Because the Major League Baseball draft runs on a different system, basically. It's about projecting them. It's not where they are right now, right? So, and you also have to remember he basically played on a broken leg half the season.
He did. That's
I also think that when I look at Chris Hakopian, and although the numbers might not be insane or jump off the boards at you,
he jumps off the page.
He's one of the better hitters, complete hitters I've ever seen at Texas A&M. And you didn't really get to see a full year of Chris Hakopian. I know he missed, 12 games battling through his various injuries. And when he was in the lineup, you didn't get to see a fully healthy Chris Hakopian, especially at the back half of the year as he was playing on one leg.
Basically hitting singles no matter where he hit it.
Singles are home runs. Home run, I want to see him do that, hit the ball 500 feet and jog. I don't ever want him to have to run. But as he gets healthy, he's a real game changer. And the thing that helped Chris Hakopian the most this year, I said this earlier during the go hour, was his defense was drastically improved. There were no questions entering 2026 from scouts or just teams and coaches in this conference about his ability at the plate. It was always about, well, how good of a fielder is he? Because at Maryland, the numbers, the fielding percentage, not great. But this year, when he played second base, the ball was hit to him, it felt like you were out. And that, I think, helped him improve his draft stock a ton.
Okay, that's helpful.
Then, the one that is the prospect that's the most volatile is going to be Sorrell, just because there's so much swing and miss, but there's undeniable talent at the plate and defensively. I can remember when he was a freshman, Coach Early was telling us that there's lightning in those hands, and it's the left-handed swing, which just makes it a little bit sweeter to watch. It'll be fun to watch those three guys. When it comes to Aggies, beginning their professional career and leaving this place, whether it's baseball or football, basketball, soccer, you name it, has there been for you guys over the years a favorite A&M professional to follow since they've left?
In all sports?
Any sport.
I mean, the easy answer, I think, to that is are people like Vaughn and Myles Garrett and Mike Evans and the guys that have gone into the NFL and been absolute stars. To have basketball wise, Chris
Middleton, DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah,
AC now, Alex Caruso.
Yeah, watching Caruso and being one of our guys, and like I said, just being a local kid, and although it was hard because as a Spurs fan, it was hard watching him in the Western Conference Finals because he played so good, and you want him to play well, but you also don't want him to beat you, So, watching Caruso and so basketball wise, Chris Middleton's been tough to watch just because he's in Milwaukee. It's hard to but. DeAndre Jordan was fun. From a baseball standpoint, watching Braden come out in his first ever at bat and hit a walk-off home run was a blast, So, but I think for us, it's obviously football. Football is always going to be king, and so watching guys like Vaughn and Miles and Mike Evans, these guys that are superstars. There's no other question. They are absolute superstars.
Well, they're not just superstars. They're future Hall of Famers. And A&M only has one member of the Professional Football Hall of Fame right now.
Yeah.
That's Yale Larry.
Yeah. And so you've got these are 3 future Hall of Famers that have been our recent Ags that are still in the league. I know Vaughn's kind of on the tail end of his career, probably a any day retirement kind of guy.
He's teasing everybody right now, posting photos in Cowboy jerseys.
Oh boy, I mean, just as a Cowboys fan, I think I'd love to have him on there. But I remember back in the day watching Dat, and Donovan Wilson as the guys that as a Cowboys fan who've gone on to play for the Cowboys. I love watching those guys too. That's been a lot of fun.
It's a way to pick one favorite. Good job.
Did I just steal all of them from you?
Well, I mean, who's left?
Chuck Knobloch.
It's a good one.
For
me,
that's a tragic one.
Albert Connell. I don't know.
You're a schmuck.
Good use of Yiddish there. My answer would be Ross Stripling, but no one cares about my answers. Plenty more talking on the other side here on TexAgs Live, brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers.
sucked.
10:40 here on a Friday morning. You're listening to TexAgs Live, brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers, as the fan show continues on. Richard Zane inside the Rollo Insurance Studio, joined by my buddies Roy May, Matt Browning, and gentlemen, we kind of talked about it in the What's on Your Mind thing, or at least it was mentioned during the What's on Your Mind segment. Talking season is here. SEC Media Days don't begin until July 20th. But the Big 12 is making the rounds this week. There were awkward dinners in the DFW area.
The what? The big what?
The Big 12.
Big 12?
Big 12. You don't remember what that is?
Never heard of her.
Anyways.
No, they because they moved. Didn't they move theirs up? So they're the first this year.
Yeah, they were the first this year. But I was saying there are awkward dinners between Texas Tech officials and Big 12 officials to try and bury the Brendan Sorsby hatchet.
Mm-hmm.
So when talking season arrives and media days arrive, what do you pay attention? What do you pay attention to? What do you want to hear asked? Any of those topics, I guess, because it does signal that football season's right on the horizon, but it also lets you know that we're still a few weeks away from the pads actually being put on and fall camps actually starting and all of that.
Yeah, for me, talking season has just gotten to the point where it's like drinking from a fire hose, man. I feel bad for the people that have to go to media days because that's like, you're talking about 8-9 hours of literally talking to people. What I do like, I think I might have mentioned this last week. I do like, because the idea behind media days is the coaches talk and then you get to interview the coach and then you interview, you bring players and the players speak and they interview the players, right? I've enjoyed what has become more common over the last few years of media people talking to other media people. Like when the TexAgs contingent talks to like the LSU contingent, like, the TexAgs equivalent at LSU or at Mississippi State. So I like that stuff. I always like when Josh Pate comes on.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, it just gets to be too much. So I'll watch media days to watch Elko's address. That's it. That's all I'll watch for. And then basically I just I go to TexAgs and get whatever you guys chop up, and I'll listen to player interviews. But like I won't sit there in front of my TV and do it. I'll just wait till you guys post them and watch it at a later date. But I don't care what's happening at Florida. I don't care if they interview a Florida player, like anybody from Kentucky. Like I don't care. Like I don't care who you're going to interview from the crap hole 90 miles up the road. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I don't care.
Yeah. So for me, it's all Maroon Kool-Aid. I want to just I want to drink up everything that A&M has to do, everything that all the players, what they have to say, what Elko has to say, all that sort of stuff. And then I love to hear after that, because it is cool because you've got all these other media outlets there that will discuss A&M stuff, right? So hearing what the LSU people say or the Texas people say about that sort of thing. But yeah, you're right. I don't care what Mississippi State's doing, or in the Big 12 media days, I'll pay attention to see if there's any good like if anybody said anything outrageous, that we can kind of laugh at. But aside from that, no. It's but again, I think they do this for each fan base just to kind of get them fired up, and so I like our segment of it. But aside from that,
for me, it's like the media to media stuff. Like TexAgs is plugged into the football program, right? If anybody on the planet, TexAgs is going to know most about what's going on with Texas A&M football. Well, their counterparts in each SEC town are going to know the most of their football team that anybody's going to know. So that's where I think we get a lot of insight out of those media-to-media interviews. I will say there's probably one other that I'll watch, maybe not live, but I'm sure I'll be able to find it somewhere on social media. Lane Kiffin might be must-watch this year.
It might be, yeah. What's Tex head coach's name again?
Joey McGuire.
Yeah, that one might not be bad.
I will say, as somebody who goes to SEC Media Days every year, Eli Drinkwitz is worth the watch. Not because he's going to talk a ton about football. You just don't know what he's going to bring up.
He's an odd duck.
Nobody's ever going to be Mike Leach, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody ever can be. I don't think anybody should ever try to replicate Mike Leach. But right now, Drink is the closest thing we have to the late Mike Leach. Last year, he started his address by saying that the media members looked like they were at Disney World, meaning they were tired, annoyed, and ready to stop listening from listening to people whining, talking about his fellow head coaches. Then he talked about
That might
the
be-
JFK assassination was something he mentioned.
That opening
And
about Disney
it's
World,
crazy.
though, might have been one of the more accurate things he's ever said. I'd be willing, because especially like if you're
Well,
the last,
he was the last.
if you're the last coach or the last day coach, like the media, they've had it. They've had enough. They're good. Like this, he's an odd duck, but nobody will ever be Mike Leach, because I think one thing a lot of people didn't understand about Mike Leach is he had a slow draw, because he sounded uneducated. That man was brilliant.
Yes.
Dude had a law degree. So there's a lot of other reasons why nobody will ever be Mike Leach as well. You know?
And like I said during the break, it's so funny how I mean, when Leach was at Tech, I hated him, couldn't stand him. I remember they interviewed him right afterward. He goes, after he beat us one time, he goes, "I guess a pirate can beat a soldier or something," or he called us play soldiers or something. You know, the RTC. So couldn't stand him. And then as soon as he left, I was like, he was one of my favorite coaches ever. So he is one that had, if he was still around and still at Mississippi State and going to SEC media days, I would have listened to Leach, because Leach was great. So.
I got to have a beer with him out in San Diego one time. He's a fantastic guy.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd been a blast.
He is a hoot in person.
Really?
Especially with a couple of beers in him.
Huh.
Gotcha.
He'd probably been my number one. If you asked me one coach I'd want to hang out with for just give me an hour with the coach, and I couldn't pick any of the Aggie coaches, I think I'd have picked.
It is definitely not a show. Like he is who he is.
He's authentically.
He was.
Or he was.
He was.
Yeah.
When you talk about only paying real attention to the A&M stuff, we don't know yet. The rest of A&M's delegation representation who's going to be going on with Coach Elko. So do you have a couple players in mind that you would prefer to see make the trip to Tampa in a couple weeks?
Well, I'll tell you who's not going to go, just because we never seem to send him, is Marcel, because we don't send quarterbacks to media day.
We haven't sent a quarterback to media day since 2019.
Because they do get, I feel like they get berated.
Last time, when Kellen Mond was there, he said he was the best quarterback in the SEC.
Well, okay.
He had a good year, but Joe Burrow won the Heisman.
Bad year to say when Joe Burrow was about to do that. But I would love to see Marcel there. I'd like to see Marcel. You probably send Mario Craver, just because dynamic. And then you go to the defensive side of the ball. I mean, you could, take your pick kind of from the secondary, maybe.
I think Marcus Ratcliffe's an awesome quote. And if you've ever listened to one of the NIL interviews with Anto Saka, you'll immediately become a huge fan. Back on offense, and they do love showing love to Maroon Goons. Wilkin Formby and Cohen Eccles are much of the same, but they're new guys. Even Des Ricks. I actually don't know too much about Des Ricks. I can't remember last time I listened to one of his.
I'm just trying to think of who to send. I mean, because for me, it's I'm not big on sending the transfers, right? Like I'd like somebody that's been under the program for at least a year. And you're obviously not going to send. You want to send seniors or juniors, right? It's just a maturity thing. And that's fine. Sure. But yeah, I could see Craver, ABR, or if you're not going to take Craver, take ABR, and then I don't know, Dalton Brooks.
Yeah, Dalton Brooks wouldn't be bad. So, but yeah, I'd like to see Marcel there. I think Marcel handles himself well in the media. I mean, he's I don't think he'd say anything outrageous like what Kellen said.
Yeah, I think he's very polished in front of a camera. I think Marcel would be a great, and I'm also thinking in terms of like, let's be a representative of Texas A&M, right?
Yeah, what's going to make us look good?
You're not always picking the best players. You're picking we need to look polished in front of the camera kind of thing. And Marcel is great in interviews, and so that's just kind of how you think through it. And probably watching the NIL tapes, NIL interview tapes is probably the best way to figure it out.
Yep. We'll probably find out the answer to that Monday is when we expect the SEC to make that announcement.
When do they start?
The media days start on July 20th. Okay. So the Monday after.
The Monday after, yeah.
All right, we'll wrap up this edition of TexAgs Live and the Fan Show on the other side.
I didn't have any.
Bob Seger bringing you back. Old time rock and roll.
Nice.
Final segment of the week here on TexAgs Live, brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I love that you know who Bob Seger is.
Well, I wouldn't know. My dad's originally from Detroit. He's
Right.
fantastic. Billy took me to a Lions game up there once and got to see Bob Seger, like from me to the TV over there. It was it was awesome. Like
That's
it was
awesome.
like being in the aura of greatness.
Zane's kind of an old soul, though. I think he's kind of he likes that older stuff. So I dig that.
Oh, he's a baseball purist, so
Yeah.
that kind of almost automatically makes you an old soul.
It's got to, yeah.
Well, I think Nick Savage is an old soul too. He listens to all sorts of that classic rock and stuff like that as well. So
That's a good thing.
I
though.
think some people might say that our parents raised us right.
Yeah,
Nick
I'd say
more
that.
so
There you
than
go.
Me, I would argue.
I think they're both good young men. So big fan.
Gentlemen, what's on tap for the weekend? What are we watching sports-wise? What are we staying tuned into over the next, I guess, 2 weeks before we actually hear real football chatter?
Well, today, there's some World Cup matches today. But then this weekend, I've got to go to Austin.
Yuck.
American Legion State Convention. So I will be getting my MLB updates from TexAgs texts alerts. But yeah, so that's my weekend. Next week is like the true kind of dead week to an extent. The week before SEC Media Days, World Cup will be wrapping up. It's kind of
Sport.
nothing.
Not a whole lot out
It's like a wasteland next week.
Sports-wise, this is the this will be the weekend I probably don't do anything outside of get my texts from you about the MLB draft and just keeping up with the guys. That's basically it. This is because again, from once we get past this, it's pretty much pedal to the floor all the way till this time next year. Because it never the sports cycle won't end. So.
Well, there's golf.
There's golf.
It's the second most popular sport in America, right? Or third,
I didn't say that. I said I think it's probably just behind hockey, and then tennis, and
Way
then
ahead
soccer.
of hockey. I think it's way ahead of, or I think hockey's way ahead of golf.
Yeah. That's what I just said. Yeah, and I'm a golfer, but so watching professional golf is difficult these days.
That's how I fall asleep on Sundays on the couch.
To your point about next week being the wasteland, baseball's All-Star break is also next week.
Ugh.
So there's nothing.
There's literally nothing.
literally nothing. It means it's time for
Pick up a
the
hobby.
honey-do list and doing the cleaning and the yard work and all that
You
stuff.
pick up knitting.
Yeah, you could do that.
I could do
I
that.
think you'd be good at knitting.
I think Bob could do it.
You look like you're a hell of a knitter.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe we can form a knitting circle.
I'd knit with you. You name the day, I'm knitting with you for sure.
No, my house will be cleaned from top to bottom. That's for sure.
I think that's on tap for us as well.
Even with sports, taking a break, still got work.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, sports taking a break. Sports are my work. Like, like I can't take a break.
Yeah,
it's time to
gotta find something to talk about.
This is where y'all got to dig. Y'all really got to dig deep.
It's time to pull some content out of thin air. Let's go.
The TexAgs content team's gonna put our collective 4 brain cells together and try to fill an entire week.
This is when you earn your paycheck. It's go time for y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no joke. Guys, appreciate you taking the time to
Thank
join
you.
me here. A day late. Friday edition of the Fan Show. Just
I know,
as
right?
just
The
as
first ever.
crazy, just
Love
as
it.
zany. Nick Savage, our producer, the entire crew in the back. David Nuno will be back inside the Rollo Insurance Studio on Monday to regale us about his tales in Southern California, Orange County, as he is at Gavin Grohovic's draft party. Keep it locked on TexAgs. Perfect time to be a premium subscriber. We're going to have wall-to-wall coverage of the MLB Draft and so much more. We'll see you next week.